and welcome to episode 63 of the XboxEra podcast. I'm joined, as always, by Special Nick.
What's going on?
And in a exclusive debut of what was going to be the Xbox 4, but ran very unwell, send him all of your love, Mr. Jez Corden from Windows Central, live on camera, the Shrimp King himself. How you doing,
The
Jez?
Shrimp King. I am shrimply awesome. How are you guys doing? Man, I had to come on this show because I really I need to tease out of Nick. What's with the shrimp stuff, Nick?
What is this?
You know what the hell this shrimp is.
Tell the people what it means.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is how it's going to be all night now.
The amount of DMs I've been getting on Twitter, I've been absolutely and the thing is, I'm one of those people that feels obligated to reply to pretty much every Twitter DM.
Your OCD won't allow you not to.
Yeah, and once this all started, I'm like, I can't anymore. I'm just hitting delete on them. As soon as I see, do you know what the shrimp is? Jez asked me to ask you. I'm just like, nah, I'm just deleting them all now.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay,
I have to stop this shit.
Seriously.
Just as planned.
What is the shrimp? Like, Nick, come on, you've been teasing it for weeks, months
nothing.
now.
I haven't teased anything. It's nothing. It is absolutely nothing.
Oh God, I think we've made it, guys. We're now getting Xbox trolls that give money to troll, and I love it.
Yeah, look, there's one already.
Much.
There's one already.
Killer of Xbox for $1.99.
Killer of Xbox, Nick, has no games. Xbox has no games. You lied. Switch plus SF 2021. What's SF? Starfield.
Yeah, basically.
I didn't say Starfield was 2021, buddy.
It's fraud.
But I was right that there was ads for it.
And Jez Corden too. I presume that's you. Is that you on your YouTube account, Jez, or is that just another?
No, that's just another Jay Corden.
Wow, just two Brits and a redneck Brit.
There is another one. Cordon.
Cordon.
Yeah.
Evil Dark Twin.
Two Brits and a redneck Brit.
There's another one.
And
there's a few Jay Cordons and Cordens in the world.
Yeah, Cordens. Nick, please stop ignoring all my DMs and just tell me what the shrimp is. Jez said you would tell me. That's what all my Twitter DMs are.
Now.
That's what they all are. They're just that now.
I think you should just make something up. Make something completely bonkers up and just say, coming in 2025. Man. And then by then, maybe people will forget about it.
The current theory going is that because shrimp apparently have 26 legs, they're now up to 26 studios. That's the current theory going.
Yeah, I saw that one being bandied
around. Is that what it is? Let us know.
Is that what it is? For God's sake. In non-shrimp related news, have you guys been playing any video games this week? Dare I ask?
Yes.
What have you been playing? Jez, we'll start with you. What have you been playing this week? Anything fun?
I've been playing Chivalry 2 religiously the last couple of days. It's if you don't know what it is, Chivalry is it's like a multiplayer medieval melee PvP game, basically. Axes and swords and maces and all that good stuff. And it's horrifically violent and incredibly hilarious.
Yeah.
Sort of, Holy Grail, Monty Python sort of humor kicking off and stuff. A lot of the achievements reference Monty Python and all that stuff. You can use anything as a weapon, pick up a fish or a chicken leg or someone's severed head and beat someone to death with it. It's incredible, man. It just feels great. The system for the combat and the collision physics and everything about it's just hilarious. It's really accessible, but when you actually do manage to do something skillful, it feels really good. And I just been playing it non-stop. It's available now, I think, on Xbox.
I saw you made a little montage of all of your shenanigans just for fun.
It's so clippable because it's just so hilariously violent.
I was a big fan of the first one.
I never played the first one. I was unfamiliar. I played Mordhau a bit on PC, but I never played the original Chivalry. I couldn't get into Mordhau for some reason. I don't know if it was just too complicated or something. But
it was very, very flash in the pan, I think. Mordhau.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. but I mean, Chivalry might end up being the same way, you know. But like, I felt like Chivalry 2 was way more accessible to get into than Mordhau was.
Yeah.
At least for me, like a better tutorial system, and also I think the humor kept me coming back to push through the learning curve. Like, even though like I was getting wrecked to start with, it was just so hilarious that I just accepted getting wrecked, and then eventually I pushed through that and actually started getting some good kills. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing this week.
Found it.
Been a busy week because of
new
Windows
addiction.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing since it came out. Yeah.
What about you, Nicholas? Anything exciting, new?
Well, I finished off Ratchet and Clank and got the platinum trophy for it, and decided to make the mistake of of tweeting out that I had completed Ratchet and Clank, and just wasn't sure after that. Like, I love the game, don't get me wrong. I love the Ratchet series, and I've bought them all and platinumed them all, the ones that have a platinum. And so someone from the Discord for my birthday sent me $30 of PlayStation credit. So I thought, you know what, I'll break my own rule and I'll buy Ratchet and Clank. And so I bought the deluxe edition because I had the $30. But in Australia, PlayStation 5 games didn't receive just a $10 price bump like they did for the rest of the world.
No.
They received a $30 price bump.
Lucky you.
The deluxe edition was $140, but the standard edition was $125. So I'm like, for $15, I'll just get the deluxe. I had the $30, so it came down to $110, which is still a lot of money. And so that's what I said on Twitter. I said, I don't know if I can justify $110.
How dare you
anymore?
How dare you?
Not to do with like the way Australia taxes games, though.
No, but that's digital though. That's a digital price.
Right.
So I don't know why would our government? I don't know. And why don't Xbox and Nintendo? Like, I get Nintendo games for $60, which apparently I lied about. And that's the thing. I get staff discount at the retailer I go to, and they release Nintendo's games for $69. I get $9 off. So I only pay $60 for Nintendo's games, which brings me to Mario Golf, which is the other game I'm playing. Really, really good. Mario Golf. It's fun.
I heard it was
a
bit light on content, though. Was it just...
I don't know. I think they're just comparing it to the older versions. Like, I'm playing through the story mode, so I haven't sat there and really dug through the rest of it to see how many courses it's got, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I'm enjoying it so far. I've always liked those Mario sports games. Well, but, yeah, I upset a lot of people when I said that I don't want a day one PS5 games anymore. I saw myself on 2 podcasts that were calling me a liar about how much I pay for Nintendo games, which was a bit surreal. Does that mean I've made it? Have I made it?
I don't know anymore, really.
If people are shitting on me on podcasts, have I made it?
I guess. Yeah, sure.
Jez, tell me. Come on, you cop it all the time, Jez. Have I made it?
I don't know, man.
Who knows?
You haven't made it until Microsoft starts giving you the checks for shilling, man.
Yeah. Wait, you guys aren't getting the checks? But well, it's nice to know that you guys are at least playing new games. I finally finished Mass Effect 1 after taking my sweet time with it, because it was the oldest game and I hadn't played it since 2007. And I'm knee deep in Mass Effect 2, and oh god, I love that game so much. Like, every mission is just good. I'm still playing through it. I haven't had a chance to play much else because I've been busy building a garden, which people may have seen on Twitter today. That's how boring my life is now as a middle-aged adult with 2 kids, is building a garden and building a shed. So that's been my week, really.
You should play Lawnmower Simulator.
Do you know what? I might have to add it to my list because I'm not allowed to mow my lawn because it's new turf. So just to get some practice in, maybe I'll see if there's a level that's similar to my garden and understand how I'll mow the lawn. But yeah, we'll have to test that one. There's not a huge amount of news this week. So before we dive into the few bits and pieces that there were, Jez, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, man. We've obviously
thanks for jumping on,
man.
we've been
After Rand bloody piked.
Yeah, well, look, Rand's got a very good excuse. He purposefully contracted pneumonia to avoid coming on the show and have an inaugural episode of the Xbox 4. But please send him all of your love and best wishes. I'm sure he'll be back on his feet soon enough. But we've been watching and we've been fans of Windows Central since before we even started. So it's kind of like it's a very cool moment for us to have you on the show. I know there's been a lot of bants between you and Nick online over the years.
Jez and I have twisted his arm repeatedly to join the Discord, and then he leaves, and then I twist his arm again to join again.
He sees all the people whinging and hating.
Sometimes I just get like so busy and so overwhelmed that like the only way I can get control of things again is to cut certain things out. So like I end up like leaving like all the Discord servers I'm in, and just like delete Facebook and a bunch of other social media, and delete Reddit, and then just sort of like okay, now I've scaled back a bit, I can breathe, because I just get so distracted. I made like a Windows Central Discord recently, and I was just like in there for ages chatting away, and it's like, oh god, I got a deadline here. I just like scatterbrained, and man,
I think that's modern social media though. Like I find myself, at the end of a day, 1 a.m. suddenly cruising through and catching up on everything that's happened and making sure I'm aware. And I'm trying to make a conscious effort to not do that as much, even if it means I miss out on things. But you gotta look after number one.
Yeah.
Couple of super chats have appeared. Tim Chimney.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Tim Chimney.
Can you cover hardware ray tracing at some point? It seems like the Series S is being left behind. Is the hardware even being used yet?
I don't know if we're the guys to answer that.
Yeah, I'm no technical nerd.
I'm actually like, I'm moving house next week, and I'm not bringing my Series X with me. I only have a Series S, so I do plan on doing like a thorough investigation into the state of the Series S as it pertains to this summer. So I'll be definitely looking at some of that stuff, because when I want something, I just like bang Microsoft doors. Microsoft, I want ray tracing now. Make it happen. So,
well, the tech's there, and we've saw it with Watch Dogs, right? So
yeah, I can only assume once games are not tied down to the Xbox One, maybe, and they're using the full feature set of the newer consoles. Perhaps, I don't know.
I think that's something to do with it. It's kind of like they're just sort of a lot of the games right now are ports from the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And they just sort of bolt next gen features onto it.
Yeah.
If when we get to a point where they're making games for next gen natively, presumably the Series S will be sort of more utilized, should we say? But until then, I suppose we're going to be in this sort of uncanny valley where it's sort of like Xbox One versions with some tweaks and stuff like that. And it's even the case right now for the Series X. A lot of the games are One X or Series.
Damn Microsoft's naming conventions. Yeah.
Man, it's man. Why couldn't they just call them Xbox 1, 2, 3, and 4?
I know.
You can imagine it.
I said it. I was saying it for ages.
Cloud gaming.
They could have called it Xbox 5. Yeah. They had a chance to call it Xbox 5 and they didn't take it.
The cloud gaming is the most egregious, though, because it's like, we've been publicly calling it xCloud for 3 years or something. No, let's call it Xbox Game Pass streaming for cloud. Is it? I can't even remember what it is.
It's officially called Xbox Cloud Gaming, right? But the search volume around that is next to nothing.
Yeah.
Everyone calls it xCloud, or Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Cloud Gaming streaming service subscription.
God damn it, Microsoft.
It's for Android. For Android web, it's so complicated. But
overly complicated.
That's Microsoft. That's Microsoft.
It really is.
Yeah.
We've got another super chat. Undisputed Nerd Jez, it's time to confess that what the shrimp is, because Gorgura did an Xbox sponsored stream. Gawr Gura, Gura.
Yeah,
What's that?
VTuber.
Oh,
Right.
She's a VTuber and she's like a shark, and there's this whole shrimp thing, and some people thought it was related to
Right.
that.
Right.
So it's an anime shark girl VTuber basically. Now, do you want to know the truth about the shrimp?
oh my
Do you want
God.
to know the truth?
Okay.
Didn't you tell
Strapping
me?
him.
You told me.
I'd be telling people about, just to put it to bed. I was awake for 36 hours in a row covering E3, right? I was awake for 36 hours. I had insomnia. I couldn't sleep. I had tons of work on, and I was losing my mind, right? And I encountered that joy. Have you seen the joy shrimp emoji on Discord?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a shrimp with a joy laughing face with the tears.
Yeah.
Saw that, and I laughed for 10 minutes because I was
Delirium.
so tired. I was delirious, and I thought it was the most hilarious thing I'd ever seen in my life. So then I edited the Xbox logo on the shrimp, and I just tweeted Xbox shrimp because I was losing it, man. I was absolutely losing it. And then it got like 700 or 800 likes or something. And loads of people in the replies were saying stuff like, "What is this teasing? What is this cryptic message?" So, and then Jeff Grubb and some other people were DMing me saying, like, people are asking me what this shrimp is. Is this actually anything? So I was just like, this is hilarious. I'm going to run with this. So then it just sort of became this like troll thing. It literally means nothing. I
kept telling everyone that. No one believes me. Everyone thinks it's something, and it's not. I keep telling them. Stop DMing me. DM Jez. Jez knows.
All right. Keep your secrets.
My Instagram algorithm thinks I'm obsessed with shrimp now, and it's like when I'm scrolling through my feed, it's just like, you can buy shrimps for a pet, and it's like shrimp videos and science videos and stuff like that. And I actually started researching how easy it is to keep shrimp as a pet. It's pretty easy apparently. And I bought the shrimp pillow as well because Matt was like, I got this shrimp neck pillow and it's awesome. I was like, I'm gonna have that as well. And I don't know, it just became this whole sort of forced meme, I guess. But
Oh God.
it was
Yeah,
just
but
funny.
you burdened me with it.
I love that you
That's
burdened
just
him
because
with
it's
it.
fun.
It's good.
Sir Monte Carlo, great show, guys. Didn't know you guys started recording in 120 FPS. True or not?
Definitely.
Yes, Carlos, 100%. 100%.
Oh, is this one of your Rocket League compadres?
Yes, that's my Rocket League partner.
Right.
That's my Rocket League
I
partner.
sensed an in-joke. I was like, well, no, it's not in 120 FPS. What's wrong with you? But okay.
And by the way, Georgie, I don't regret buying Ratchet and Clank. It's not that I regret it. All I'm saying is that I don't think I can justify going forward spending over $100 on games that I'm not going to be playing for long. And I didn't pay for Mario Golf. It was a birthday present. Just to get that out there.
Why don't you use all that Xbox era riches millions that you guys have from all that fat ad revenue, man?
Because John doesn't give any of that to me.
I don't share it out to anyone. It just sits in a bank account accruing interest to fund my
John
Cayman's
does not
bank
give any
account.
of it to me.
Well, do you know what, Jez?
It's a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, you've given me a good segue. So if you haven't seen it this week, we've announced a little giveaway, but it's a special one because we designed using Design Labs, we designed an Xbox era themed pad, which is pretty easy to do because our buttons are the Xbox buttons. But it's there with 12 months of Game Pass. All you have to do is follow all of our stuff on Twitter and YouTube, and that is literally it. You're in with a chance, and then we'll pick a winner at random next Friday. So if you haven't done that and you're watching the show, please go and do that because we want to give it away and let someone have it. Even if you're in a non-Design Labs country, we'll find a way to get it to you. So,
like me,
like you, Australians. Anyway, Halo, pretty good, isn't it? Looks pretty good at E3. They had a big inside Halo Infinite blog earlier this week. Lots and lots and lots of detail that not even I have had all of the chances in the world to look at. But one thing that stood out to me, and you guys feel free to pipe up with any particular nuggets that you found interesting. They were talking about and they were showing Waypoint and what it's going to look like. And the one thing that kind of rang some alarm bells for me is I didn't see a single mention or discussion of what a revamped file share would look like. Now, I say this as a Halo fan in that Halo 3 days, the file share was great. You could group game types to maps and you could share them and people could download sets. And then Halo 4 came out and it didn't have it. And Halo 5 came out and it kind of had a thing, but it wasn't as good as the thing from 2007. And I know that the road to Halo Infinite being developed has been a little bit bumpy, but there is this worry in me as a big Forge person that likes to make maps and share them that there isn't one, and that's why they didn't talk about it. So that was my big takeaway, apart from all the other cool stuff they showed. But I don't know if you guys did you read through it? Did you catch up on it at all?
I'm not into Lego games, so I skipped it.
Oh yeah, I forget you don't like Halo, do you? You're just not a big.
Nah, I have a guy, Brendan Lowry on Windows Central. I hired him just to cover Halo because I didn't want to cover it
don't
myself.
want to.
And he does an amazing job, but he absolutely loves it. He knows like all the lore and reads all the books and all that sort of stuff. I could just never put that kind of effort into it. But I will say that like he did a piece on Windows Central which was comparing the graphics of last year to this year.
Yeah, I saw it.
It is night and day.
Yeah.
Like, I always joke. Yeah, I always joke on our podcast that it's a Lego game and stuff. Can't really say that anymore because it looks pretty amazing. So, but yeah, I don't really get into the nitty gritty of Forge and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's the map maker, right? The map maker tool.
It's all the user generated stuff. So it's been a weird addiction of mine since the Halo 3 days. I was one with my friend who I forged the map with. We were the first ever map in public matchmaking, Forge map, which is a pretty cool claim to fame.
One of the key things that because there's this whole sort of story about how Phil sold gaming to Satya Nadella, and they sort of hinted at it in their sort of media briefings last week for E3. They kept talking about creator sovereignty. That they use that word creator sovereignty with the Windows 11 reveal as well.
Yeah.
Satya Nadella is really big on Microsoft's mission to let people create content, which is why they approved the Minecraft purchase in the first place. So, like with regards to Forge, obviously it's part of Microsoft's mission. You know, in their mission statement, it says something like "empower others to do more." Yeah, and they think of it in terms of creator economy.
Yeah,
let people, make things and then maybe even potentially sell them. I don't think they're going to sell Forge maps, but if you look at like what Bethesda did with their modding store, and you look at what they're doing with Minecraft, that Sonic thing they just released, that was made by community.
Yeah,
I noticed that. It wasn't made by Microsoft. Some community dudes made it, and they're going to make a ton of money on it. And like
I bought it.
The creators, yeah, I haven't tried it myself, but it looks pretty cool. But there are creators in the Minecraft marketplace who make millions of dollars, literally millions of dollars, building content for that community and then selling it, making a profit. So I would expect and hope that Forge has the tools that it needs to, be popular and be a cornerstone of it and stuff like that, just because of that mission statement.
Yeah, I hope so, and it sounds reasonable to assume that, because we saw, Forza Horizon 5 has a much deeper, more evolved version of, their kind of UGC, user-generated content kind of vehicle for Forza. I don't know, I think back to the nightmare of Halo 5, in that Halo 5 was actually, as far as Halos go, it was actually a good game, all right? I know there's a lot of haters out there, and the campaign isn't the best campaign, but the multiplayer was incredibly solid. The biggest problem is that they didn't release Forge until, like, I don't know, a month or 2 months in. And at that point, all of the imagination, like, you kept seeing all these cool things being made, but people had already moved on. And I just really hope it's there at launch all over again. It scares me as a Forge nut that I can't make things, even though it's really addictive and marriage jeopardizing. But yeah,
I did watch the graphics comparison videos. There's like a bunch of them, and it's not just an improvement. Like some of the videos were showing the multiplayer visuals versus last year's campaign, and even the multiplayer looks better than last year's campaign reveal.
Yeah,
like it's a massive improvement. It's good. It's really good.
I can't wait to play it. But yeah,
It
Lego
shows
games.
what a difference lighting and stuff can make, and it also
Yeah.
it speaks to the fact that it's a pretty large amount of work to make a slice of a game for an E3 showcase and stuff like that, because you basically have to implement all these lighting and shadows and shaders and all that sort of stuff that maybe generally comes later in the development. Like you don't need the lighting model to test the gameplay, for example, which is why I don't think we got like Hellblade at E3, because they didn't want to have maybe they could have showed some Hellblade gameplay, but it wouldn't have had all the lighting and maybe some of the special effects that sort of make it pop. Yeah. And they probably wanted to avoid another Halo Infinite thing where everyone was like, Craigified.
Do you think Craig will be in the game at some point somehow?
Craig has to be in the game somehow. I think Microsoft has this whole lean into the memes ethos now.
It's very hip.
Very, very. They've gotten really good at social media the last few years.
Yeah.
They used to be terrible at it. If you go back and look at some of Microsoft's older presentations and stuff, you can just tell that there was just no brains behind the wheel.
Yeah.
They just sort of sleepwalking it and didn't really get any of that culture and stuff. And but they've done a much better job of it now.
Yeah, I think whoever runs the Game Pass main Twitter account deserves one hell of a raise, because they just nail it 99% of the time.
It's hilarious.
There was one I on the social media topic. I think they won an award for it, right? It's my favorite. Yeah, the Series S. Oh, it's there. It was the best way and the most fun and hype way that a console has ever been revealed. Forget stupid come and log in here and watch this video at this time. The fact that it was out there and then they were it was just perfect, and that I think was well deserving of that award. I loved that. It was so much fun.
I deserve that reward. They got that tweet because of me. Wow, Brad as well, I guess.
Yeah. I heard
Brad
they were very cross.
And I leaked the price and the launch date.
Yeah, they were more cross with Brad though, because he just shared all the images of it, right? And it was just boom, here it is the thing.
Yeah, I think so. It's all the Google traffic was what? How much does it cost? So I got a boatload of traffic. But all the social traffic was Brad's picture.
Yeah,
because it's a picture. So it's he got in trouble, I think.
I imagine, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a team probably there that are looking forward to revealing it, and I think that the image was obtained not by Brad, but it was given to Brad via someone being a bit naughty.
Well, it wasn't just Brad. It was just out there, and I think it's not like me and Brad or the insiders or whatever you want to call these people, journalists or whatever. I don't even know anymore. But it's not like we sit there thinking how can we spoil this announcement? It's something. I had the information, and Brad had the information probably weeks before it actually came out, but something happened that was kind of well, if we don't leak it or I don't leak someone else is gonna do it, and it's ultimately a case of do you compete? Because there's other people who are prolifically leaking in tech too, like EvLeaks, for example. I don't know if you know him. He leaks a lot of tech, and he leaks Surface devices, So, and sometimes Xbox hardware as well. So, it's when people like that and other, when it's out there, and then everyone just sort of, goes ahead with it. But it's a tricky game to play,
Yeah,
and all about that, Nick, with your shrimp.
Well, the shrimp also, yes, but also the ghost of Ikishima thing.
Yeah, you've upset a few people this week.
Yeah, well, what Jez said was perfect. Dealer was hinting at it. So the source that told me about Ghost of Ikishima told me about it 4 or 5 days ago, and they were look, let me talk to my person to find out what's going on and whether we can say anything, blah, 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 blah. So I forgot about it. And then that source DM'd me with Dealer's tweet.
Yeah.
Because Dealer was hinting at Ghost of Tsushima DLC / expansion. And I was like, oh, do I say anything? They're like, okay, quote tweet him, mention it's coming most likely 2021, blah, 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 blah. So I did. And then some other random person DM'd me on Twitter with the name and everything. So I took a screenshot of that, sent it to my guy, and I was like, do people know this is a thing now? They're like, fuck it, leak it, just say what it is, da-da-da, the whole thing. I'm like, cool.
That was a pretty prolific leak because, like, I don't get Sony information, but even I heard about that. That's why I replied to Dealer with more or less, because I'd heard it was like Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
It's like it's standalone expansion.
Like,
So I never get Sony information, and even I heard about that. So that was gonna leak. So even if like Dealer or someone else didn't leak it,
and that's the thing. Like, I said to my person that gives me a lot of Sony stuff, I was like, when they first told me, like I said, it was like 4 or 5 days ago. I'm like, can we just leak this now? Like, is this one of those things where you tell me to hold on and then it gets out there before I get a chance? They're like, nah, no one knows about this. I'm like, okay, I'll trust you. And then and all of a sudden I see
everyone knew about it, man.
Wait, was this the other thing that you kind of we talked about last week, and you're like, I'm going to save this in? Was it that?
Oh, this is something else.
Okay.
This is something else. I was told about a remaster. Ooh, no, I'll stop.
Oh, okay.
I'll stop. It's early in the morning, and I nearly let that slip.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on. Sir Monte Carlo again. His thing has been sitting there. Absolutely great seeing Jez on camera. You should do this more often, Jez. No reason to hide that beautiful beard. See, Jez?
He's right.
I only got a webcam recently. Like, well, I got this like terrible integrated webcam in my laptop, which looks like a Nokia 9210.
6610.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the number.
It is a good
it's
beard.
Like 2 megapixels. Thank you.
That's a full-on beard.
Yeah, I'm suffering from a bit of beard envy. I keep like trying to pull this out to try and keep up, and it's not working.
What do you mean? Look at this one. This is like a 16-year-old's beard.
Well, no, it's your chiseled, Greek Australian boy band beard. It's fine.
This is a lockdown beard. Like, I just haven't shaved since lockdown.
It's you got to like. I've got a friend of mine. He's dark haired, but yep, he's got the ginger beard, and he just embraces it, and does the mutton chops and the giant tash.
Yeah.
Why not?
There's some kind of genetic thing. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty prone in like Northern Europe, I think.
Yeah, definitely is.
But it annoys my girlfriend, which is another plus.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, Ruthwick, I nearly let it slip. And Hassan, I did almost let that slip.
Almost.
The funny thing is, I could probably say what it is. I chose to hold on to it.
You said there was no Rumourmill this week, so unless you change your mind.
That's why I'm not.
Okay.
I'll see. I'll think about it.
Okay.
You know what? I'll DM this person. And ask them if I can say something.
While you're doing that, I'll segue a little bit. Jez, obviously, you're here on the show. We mentioned earlier that we've been big fans of Windows Central, and I appreciate that. Obviously, on Rand's show, everybody knows you, and I'm sure that there's probably like a 99% crossover with our audience and yours anyway. But for my own personal curiosity, how did Windows Central sort of appear? Is it your baby, or did you join a team? Because it's risen to sort of massive heights in the last couple of years, right? So, like, tell us a little bit about the journey, a little bit about the story of you and Windows Central.
Well, I told this story before, but like, I'll give you an abridged version.
Go for it.
I was sort of like, I was in my mid-20s. I was about 24, and I'm a high school dropout. I didn't go to uni, anything like that. And the job center forced me to get a position as a junior IT guy at a local high school, which is actually a pretty nice job. I worked with nice people. It was minimum wage, but it was a job.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was like the IT crowd literally just sitting waiting for the phone to ring. So like while sitting waiting for the phone to ring, I decided I was going to brush up on my web design skills because I used to make websites when I was a teenager, and make Flash cartoons and animations and stuff. And I thought, like, I'll bring my web design out of the 90s and learn CSS and stuff. So as I was doing that, I was like, well, I need some content for this blog that I was making. So I started blogging while waiting for the phone to ring for, like, IT problems. now I'm here.
Boom. It's that easy, folks.
Fast forward.
But it was sort of like I'd always liked Xbox, but I was never really into it. You know, I played more on PC. I played on Tournament 99 and World of Warcraft religiously back then. I played Xbox every now and then. You know, I didn't play it that much. But at the time I was hanging out with these people who I knew from school, and there was this guy who was like a massive Apple fanboy. And I'd never known anyone to be a fanboy of a tech company.
Uh-oh.
Like, I just thought it was so weird. Like, he had like an Apple logo on the front door. He had like Steve Jobs' biography on his coffee table, and he had like Macs all over the place and iPhones, and was really, really like into this stuff. And I thought I thought his passion was like interesting, but at the same time, just to be a dick. He was always like, get an iPhone, because I didn't even have a smartphone back then. He was always like, get an iPhone. But just to be a dick, I got a Windows phone just to be a dick.
Good man.
And
Windows phone is the best.
Yep.
Yeah, just to be contrarian, I got a Windows phone. And the only Windows phone website that existed was Windows Phone Central, wpcentral.com back then. I started like learning about Windows Phone through WP Central, which is now Windows Central.
Yeah.
And so I when I was making my blog, I was like blogging about Windows Phone 2 and my experiences with it. And I was like, oh wow, I can get Xbox achievements on this too. And I got into Xbox more because of the connectivity between the phone and the Xbox at the time. And I started blogging about that. And you know, one day Nokia rang me up and they were like, do you want to come and see a phone launch in Barcelona? We'll pay for it.
Wow.
Just ran blue, because they were just desperate for any Windows Phone press at the time.
Yeah.
And no one's writing about it. So like there was just me and a bunch of hobby bloggers. They invited out to Barcelona to see the launch of Lumia 640. And Daniel Rubino and Windows Central were there covering the new phone launch, because back then they only covered Windows Phone. And I landed an interview with Nokia's marketing VP or something while I was there. And I wrote that up and posted it on Reddit on my blog, just like XboxEra, you know, just like a you know, personal blog or whatever, small, you know, new and growing and stuff. And Daniel Rubino must have read my blog, and then while I was in Barcelona, he just offered me a job.
Wow.
So come work for us.
That's awesome.
And Windows Phone died. We rebranded to Windows Central. I started growing our Xbox audience, because when we first started covering Xbox, the Windows Central audience hated it. Wow. So like, this is nothing to do with Windows Phone. What are you doing? But then Windows Phone died, you know. So we had to pivot, you know, pretty hard. And now we just cover anything that's sort of Microsoft related. But yeah, that's it. Now I'm here.
Keeps you busy.
Just literally hobby blogging.
It's funny. What you said then, it reminded me a lot of what MVG said, Modern Vintage Gamer, how he used to be just old, all about the emulation stuff and homebrew stuff, and then he exploded when he covered the original Xbox, but he was worried his audience would be like, you don't talk about video game consoles, why would you do this? And it ended up being like his biggest video at the time. And then it took off from there. Very, very similar story. Interesting.
I owe it all to the Xbox community. Like they were so, like, when I was on Twitter with 200 followers or whatever, they were so inviting and welcoming, and Windows Phone community too. Like I still speak to people from the old Windows Phone community. Like they were just so like passionate and interested in the tech and what Microsoft were doing, and you know, there was just this whole thing, you know, and we all grew together. Like me, Rand, Tim Dog, and Dealer, and Colt, and a lot of these Xbox guys. Like we all sort of came on board at a similar sort of time.
Yeah,
and we all grew together, and it's just been incredible. Just been absolutely incredible. You know?
Yeah, it's been fun watching it. You know, like we're obviously a little late to the party, but you know, it's a lot of what we see, and you know, nailing it from an Xbox community point of view. Like we've been lucky enough to have somehow landed some amazing people in our little community, and it's been a weird ride, right? And it's nice to know that, yeah, you know, if you have that kind of, yeah, I just want to do this because it's something I'm passionate about. I enjoy it, and then boom, you never know where it might end up. So I guess
seriously, like anyone can do this. You just have to, you know. When I was doing, used to be, my blog was called Xbox Mad back in the day.
I remember that.
catchy.
Catchy. Like that was Liam, because there was a guy on Twitter called Liam Pond, and his Twitter handle was Xbox Mad UK at the time, and it was just like, I want to make a blog about Xbox, and we made it together. But he had kids and stuff. I was a loser, so I was just writing like 10 articles a day for this blog, you know, that we'd made. That were based on his Twitter handle, you know. And it's just crazy what happened, you know. And a lot of the people from Xbox Mad, like, they got jobs in the industry too now, you know. A lot of the people from Xbox Mad are at Windows Central too now, in various ways. The guy who actually is in charge of Xbox on Windows Central, he worked on Xbox Mad with me, Matt Brown. Awesome guy. And, you know, it's just crazy.
It's cool.
I still sinking in, even though I've been doing it for 8 years now.
Well,
it's just...
I think it's nice now at this point that, you know, I'd argue that anyone in the Xbox community has had to be incredibly patient for the one of, you know, the second richest company in the world, or whatever, however you want to phrase it, to actually be all in. And now it's, you know, it's at this point where it's like, yeah, there's something to talk about almost every week because of some of the initiatives that they finally, you know, got off the ground.
Oh man, it has been
bonkers.
tough to be a Microsoft fan over the years. Like they killed Windows Phone with a tweet, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And they'd spent literally millions of dollars curating a community around Windows Phone, and they killed it with a tweet, man. And it's like, is this how you treat your customers? You know? And their entire mentality was just completely wrong. For Xbox, it was wrong.
Yep.
For Windows, it was wrong. Everything they did was just a complete mess for years. And, you know, a lot of the sort of internal politics and bureaucracy that sort of slowed down the process of change, it's taken this long to rip it out.
Yeah.
Like Terry Myerson, when Terry Myerson was like in charge of Xbox because Xbox was under Windows, that was such a huge sort of, that was just a layer of extra sort of crap that Phil and the team had to deal with.
It's the right word.
To get to Satya, you know. So like now when Phil was elevated to the senior leadership table and now has like a direct line to Satya, that's when, you know, the gasoline really hit on this, and Xbox ultimately can now realize its full potential.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this on the Windows side too. Like Panos Panay is bringing the same kind of passion to Windows.
What a gun.
Yeah.
That guy could sell me
It's a really
air.
exciting time for the ecosystem, but it's been awful for years.
And I think that's the best thing, and it's the thing I think is unique to the Xbox community particularly, is that when Microsoft screw up, this community will fucking tell them. They will be like, yo, no way, nope, not cool, and they'll make a big old fuss, song and dance. And I feel like predominantly when other communities and companies screw up, it's just taken. It's just taken, yeah, okay. And then you'll see this like weird justification dance going on where you're like, what do you, you're the consumer, what do you care about their
mental
bottom
gymnastics.
line? It's a weird...
I have seen like the Nintendo community blow up around like Smash Brothers issues and stuff like that, but you know, it's I think part of that is because Microsoft actively engages with the community. Yeah. Like I'm not sure I could have grown as a journalist if I was covering another platform exclusively, because even when I was like really small, like Microsoft supported me with codes, supported me with access. Yeah. And you know, we've seen Phil jump on very small podcasts in the past, and you know, help them blow up and help them get traction and stuff like that. Like that, all the execs and all the people at Xbox are accessible. So on some level, we know that they listen because they reply to tweets.
Yeah.
They see this stuff and they see the articles we put out. Like I put out like articles last year talking about how Xbox had terrible localization on the store. Like it was really hard for them to see languages, and they've still got a long way to go to fix a lot of those issues with the store when it comes to localization. But because of that article, they put a team in place to start hacking away at these problems, which are some of them are legacy issues with the code base on Windows 8 store, because all that stuff's still powered by Windows 8.
It's gross, isn't it?
But that's been stripped out for Windows 11, so that's a good thing. But anyway, I digress. Like the community engagement's amazing with Xbox, and I think that's why, like, one reason why we are willing to be so noisy, because we know they'll listen. I feel like if we thought nobody was listening, it might be a bit different.
Yeah.
Question, Jez. Or two questions. Your favorite Windows phone? Mine is still the Lumia 920, personally, because the camera on that thing was
What was
ridiculous.
the bright yellow one? Was that the 920?
The 920 came in bright yellow.
The 920.
That's mine.
A lot of them came in yellow. The 920 and the 1020 came in yellow. Oh god, this is so sad now. I used to have like 10 Windows phones, but I think it would be like 30 or 40 Windows phones. But my favorite was the 1520, the big phablet.
Oh yes,
it was like 6.8, 7 inches or something. It was a monstrously big phone, but it just had the most amazing battery life. Like 2 days on a charge, really abusing it. You just can't get phones that do that now.
Yeah.
I love that phone. Polycarbonate back. Beautiful display. Man, I just love that phone. But you know, the Samsung Galaxy's not so bad. It's okay. You know?
Yeah. It doesn't have the same amount of like endearment to it though.
No. The 9. Doesn't. I don't know. The 920 to this day, I still don't think there's a phone that's matched its low light photo quality. The 920 low light camera was unbelievable.
The cameras on those phones are so far ahead of their time.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you can control the shutter speed on the Lumia phones, like all phones do that now, but you could stick a 1020 on a tripod and lower the shutter speed really low, and you could make amazing low light photographs with that, because it'd take all the light in with the slow shutter speed.
Sucks it all in.
But the dual processors, the dual core processors weren't powerful enough to process the 40 megapixel images on that phone. It's hilarious, bro. Let's not bore the people.
I know. Here we are trying to keep this podcast fairly low.
I know, but
and we've gone on a half-hour tangent on Windows Phone.
I know, but I've always viewed Windows Phone. I've always viewed Windows Phone as arguably the biggest mistake Microsoft has ever made. Like, so I was working in phone retail back before the iPhone came out, or around the time the iPhone came out, and the most popular phone going around at the time was the HTC Diamond. Stunning little sleek phone. But of course, Windows Phone back then was literally the desktop OS shrunk down to a tiny little screen. So that was before we got the tiles and all that sort of stuff. And I look back and I think, if we had got the Windows Phone we all know and love back in 2005, 2006, the iPhone probably wouldn't exist now. Like,
maybe.
Because Windows Phone was a legitimately good phone OS. And I just think to myself, if you had paired the proper Windows Phone with the HTC Diamond, that would have been the iPhone before the iPhone came along. And the
problem is as well, like, Bulmer just lacked vision, and he was like really stubborn. If you watch like some documentaries and comments that people have made about Steve Ballmer, he said something like about touchscreens. He said touchscreens were stupid or something. And like, I think the Windows phones back then had like a capacitive screen with a little stylus that you had to tap it with. And he was like, "Oh, no one's going to use a touchscreen with their fingers." You know, like, and there were probably people screaming at him.
God.
Oh, for sure.
there are probably
For
people
sure.
screaming at him, Steve, what are you doing?
Stop
And
talking.
like, it was recently, there was like some weird interview where a Google engineer was saying that like when he told Steve Ballmer that he's moving from Microsoft to Google, Steve Ballmer threw a chair across the room. So
Man.
Steve Ballmer doesn't seem like the kind of guy you want to say no to, or you want to like
Yeah.
contradict maybe. At least Steve Ballmer like saved Xbox from the Red Ring of Death, but I think a lot of Microsoft problems were just Steve Ballmer's inability to listen. And like, you know, like I remember him saying things like, "We'll never put Office on other platforms." You know, we'll build an ecosystem that's, you know, mirrors Apple and stuff like that. And Satya has completely turned that on its head.
Yeah.
He completely flipped that and just be like, let's go where customers are. Let's make devices that people actually want. You know, and stuff like that. And look at their share price.
Yeah.
Like I remember looking at Microsoft share price and thinking, man, I should buy Microsoft shares. They were like $25. Like $25 a share. I would have had like 1,000% return or something, you know, at this point.
Yep. But yeah,
Yes, I apologize. It was Windows Mobile, not Windows Phone. It became Windows Phone, but you know what I meant.
I'm also
So,
seeing a
come
lot
on.
of love for the Zune in the chat, and yeah, I had the Halo 3 Zune imported from America, and I loved that thing in all of its
never came out
murky
yet, did it?
browns. No, it didn't. But I did
Did you
love
see
it.
Elon Musk's tweet about the Zune?
Yes.
I maintain it, and Zune fans will know this. The operating system, the application, the Zune app was and still is visually the best music player ever. I loved that thing. It was just so cool. But yeah, well, I'm going to jiggle things around in order to try and get this train back on track. Windows 11, you brought it up a couple of times. Microsoft had their big event. And from a gaming perspective,
Looks nice.
were you pleased with what you saw? Because there's been a bit of an uproar in terms of that it's apparently limited to Gen 8 CPUs, right? And there's been some backtracking, but they're not backtracking, and testing done. What are your thoughts after their big sort of song and dance about it?
Me or Nick?
You, because Nick's going to be like, yes, Windows 11, and it looks nice.
It does. It looks nice.
See,
It looks very Mac OS.
yeah,
It looks nice.
That's sort of my thinking on Windows 11 right now. It's like it looks nice, you know, and I think what really matters is things like performance, bloat, and like what is this actually going to be like when I get it running on a machine? Because luckily my machine does support Windows 11. I bought a Razer Blade. Yeah, I bought a Razer Blade 17 Pro last year, and I was like, man, I really can't afford this laptop, but I bought it anyway. And I'm really glad I did now, because my previous laptop before that wouldn't support it. There's a lot of upset Surface Studio fans right now who bought a Surface Studio for $4,000.
Yikes!
And they're not supported. There's a lot of people at Windows Central who've got Surface devices who no longer have them supported for Windows 11, but I haven't fully read into what they say is the rationale behind some of this. A lot of people are saying it's because their OEMs want them to push new laptops, and they want to, like, you know, re-energize the PC market, which isn't doing too badly.
Yeah.
Like there was I remember like a decade ago there was all this doom and gloom, like iPhone was going to kill PC and iPad's going to kill PC. PC sales are actually going up and not meeting demand right now. So you know, and I'm sure Windows 11 will inject a sort of another booster to that. But as pertains to gaming, you know, it's sort of like it was kind of like a lot of stuff we already knew. Like they already talked about direct storage before.
Yeah.
Direct storage, NVMe. I think NVMe is like the minimum requirement for direct storage to work. And then it's kind of like, you know, will devs actually use it? Because most people with game PCs, their games off a hard drive, not a NVMe a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And you know, and also there's stuff like the auto HDR stuff.
That's
like,
pretty cool.
It's sort of like, you know, again, HDR can be hit and miss sometimes. It's a lot of it's
Yeah.
just sort of wait and see at this point. Like, it looks great. I think it looks gorgeous, especially in dark mode.
Yes.
But I'm sorry with Windows 11. I'm just sort of like wait and see right now. I want them to fix the Xbox app, man. The
Yes.
Xbox app is so
Yeah.
slow. I really
Yeah.
like. It looks nice, but it's super slow.
I feel like it updates every day. Like, but then nothing changes. I'm like, why are you installing this update?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just goes round and round and round, and games don't uninstall properly, and you get errors, but you can't really identify what the error is, and it's all because it's tied to that back end Windows 8 App Store. I mean, in some of the announcements, they said that they would allow any kind of application, Win32, Android.
And the Android apps.
Yeah.
Yeah, God. Like the whole Android app thing is like it's just
so
crazy.
weird.
It is weird.
It's a way
But
to.
what's the thinking behind that?
It's a shot at Chromebooks for one thing, I guess, because Chrome OS can run Android apps in a little window like that. But it's also kind of like it's sort of they put a big emphasis on touch devices at this event. They were talking about how like Windows have like bigger touch targets now and bigger hitboxes and stuff like that, and then it's more iPad like when you flip it around, and because like the current version of Windows is just like it doesn't understand how to be a tablet basically.
No.
It doesn't understand it. It's like what I'm a tablet now. I don't get it. Like it's pretty bad as a tablet, but so I think like the Android app stuff is maybe to move against the iPad too, because like if you've got like a Surface Go or some like 9-inch sort of tablet PC, you want to have tablet apps on it, right? Right now, you pretty much don't have any tablet apps on a Windows PC tablet. But if with Android, you'll have your Snapchat and you'll have your whatever, and you could sideload wherever you want. So, because right now it supports the Kindle Fire app store, but I think like they are going to let you sideload. So you could sideload Android games on there. You could sideload, I don't know, Genshin Impact maybe. I don't know. It depends on like, depends on like how the emulation works. It might be terrible. It might just like not work. It might be like okay, like only certain apps that are really simple work, or maybe the apps can't access the file system because they're in containers. Or it's another wait and see. Like it sounds great on paper, will it actually work? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it'll literally be a kind of okay. Let's let it come out and see.
I've already seen a visual design thing that I don't like, but I'm assuming they'll let us change it. Where they put the recommended apps below the pinned apps when it should be the other way around, but also
I prefer for it never to recommend me anything. I know what I want on my desktop. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Please go away. Windows, don't tell me what to download.
That's right.
But yeah. Okay, so in an effort to move swiftly, last two things, and both things were thought dead.
Jez and I are both involved in these.
Yeah, thought dead, but aren't actually. So the first one was, and I'll give you your moment, Nick. You want to talk about Killer Instinct a little bit more?
Yeah, I found the podcast episode from July last year where I wanted to tell everyone Killer Instinct wasn't dead, but couldn't. And then Jez kind of alluded to it much later in the year, and I was talking about it with Jeff Grubb. And now Phil has finally come out and said what we've known for a while, that they're not done with Killer Instinct. They just can't find a team to do it, because Iron Galaxy certainly aren't going to do it.
Iron Galaxy said they would do it, but it's like
true. I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah, is it actually just them saying that? It seems really like
that's the case.
Yeah, there's just not many fighting game studios out there that are like independent in a sort of way. Like there's System Mirror, which made Guilty Gear, I think, are independent.
Dimps.
But yeah,
Dimps could do it.
If only they bought.
If only they could buy a fighting game studio. Maybe there's one they're talking to at the moment. Who knows? Maybe there's one that they've been talking to for a while.
This is how it starts.
Like maybe like a year. There's one they've been talking to. Who knows?
This is how it starts. This is how it starts. This is how shrimp become things.
Someone in the Discord brought up a cool idea, and I pinged this studio on Twitter. The studio that makes the Power Rangers game.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's actually a pretty good call. Like, I played that Power Rangers game, and it focuses a lot on combos like Killer Instinct does, and I'm not going to say it feels like Killer Instinct, but it does have a very similar feel and vibe to it. And I thought, you know what, that's actually not a bad call. So I pinged them and, of course, did not hear anything back.
I can't help but wonder if they couldn't just, like, you know, hire some of the key people who worked on it and just give it to the coalition or something.
Yes.
And make it like hyper violent again. Because one thing that bugged me about Killer Instinct is that it stripped out a lot of the violence that I remember from the original games.
It was just sparks and stuff instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't need it to be like more combat violent, but like what happened to the fatalities and stuff like that? Not fatalities. Yeah. They were called something else in Killer Instinct.
I
Humiliations.
That rings a bell.
There was a few things in Killer Instinct, yeah.
I can't remember what they were called now. I'm getting really old.
Yeah, my mind's gone.
That's something like fatalities in Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
That were not included.
Yeah.
That like they give you like the ultra combos bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so Killer Instinct.
Who knows? Maybe they're looking at that. But that was the thing that I had said now almost a year ago. Something is not dead. It was Killer Instinct. But I mentioned that on a podcast.
Yeah,
late last year with
Jeff, I think.
With Jeff Grubb. But yeah, it's good to know though. It is very comforting to know that they're aware everyone wants Killer Instinct back. They do want to do it. They just need to find the studio. And I'll tell you now, Iron Galaxy ain't it. It's not going to happen.
Oh. The other thing that was dead, because the third game was really shocking, but might be coming back, is apparently Dead Space, right? And this is something I think, again, I don't like stroking your ego, but, you know, I guess you enjoy it. This is something that I think you had maybe, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, maybe last year. I can't even remember now. How long ago?
It was the episode where I was in Sydney for that wedding.
So yeah, about 8 weeks ago, something like that.
So I might maybe a little bit less than that. And I talked about how I believe that current EA would look at bringing back Dead Space. And then I put a tweet out not long after that, and then Jez did his thing where he hangs shit on me when I tweet something. Saying, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool if that was happening?
I just knew. I knew from the way you worded that tweet that you were talking about a leak. I just knew it. You know. Because I'd heard that too. I had heard that.
And then
I heard it's not a sequel though. Not a sequel.
Yeah, I believe it might be a reboot. Yeah. I believe it might be a reboot.
I was told it wasn't a sequel and it's not a remaster. So what does that make it? A reboot?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Doom. A reboot like Doom, I assume.
Yeah, something like that. And there's the latest rumor is that EA Motive are making it.
Yeah,
Star Wars Squadrons apparently.
Yeah. I think it was Jeff Grubb that like copped crap for sort of because I didn't watch his stream where he mentioned it, but apparently articles came out after Jeff Grubb said something saying, "Oh, Dead Space." I think because he used the word "dead" or something or "space" or something like that, and everyone was just like, "So it's Dead Space. It's Dead Space." Yeah, I think EA might have got a bit annoyed about that one.
Well,
about that one coming out.
They'll live.
Like just said before, we hear stuff and we get told not to say stuff and we don't. But then you see something coming in the distance and you know it's going to get out anyway. So you're like, may as well be me.
And I will mention this one. So Cerys in the chat, good old Cerys. She said WRT feedback. I don't know what WRT stands for. Maybe it's
what's WRT?
I don't know. But I know I pinged Xbox PR about this and was like, hey, you know, a lot of the community want these Pride controllers, and she's written, I would love if people had been more vocal about the Pride controllers that they gave to influencers and didn't sell. WB
That was an
controllers
odd
were awful.
I did
choice.
ping people at Xbox about that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a...
But I didn't get a reply.
No, neither did I. But maybe there should be. It is a bit weird to me that you'll do something really cool and then just give it to like 30 people that could probably afford it more than most, and then that's it.
That's odd.
Yay, happy Pride.
Yeah, it sort of sucks the message out a little bit when
just a smidge.
And it's like when they're trying to say it's not for marketing reasons, and then they do something like that, and they don't share it with the community.
Yeah.
But it's just one of them things, I guess. Hopefully they'll sell them, or give you a way to stick them on the design lab or something like that. But
it would be very cool.
I think there were some people at Microsoft that weren't happy about that either. The way that was handled, but
hopefully that feedback will be taken on board. The other super chat we've got is Dead Planet. Colin Moriarty, who I like, has one opinion that I vehemently disagree with. That is, PS5 compared to Xbox is the quality over quantity option. Seems to me this opinion has an expiration date. Games are games, right? In my opinion, I think all Sony games seem to have an extra layer of polish that Microsoft were struggling to reach in prior gens.
I agree with that.
It's just this, that last 6 months of pure. Yep, we're just going to polish this gem until everything is perfectly shiny. Microsoft just didn't go that extra mile, but PlayStation games in general. The long narrative driven stuff is not really my kind of video game anyway. So I would say to you that everybody likes different things and you should just play what you like. It's just me.
Yeah, I am Sony's target market, like, because I do like those narrative, polished, violent, mature sort of games. Like The Last of Us. I played The Last of Us for the first time pretty recently because I didn't have a PS4. And I was just like blown away by how amazing it was. Like from right out of the gate, it punches you in the stomach, in a way that Microsoft games often don't.
Yeah.
And I've talked to Rand. Like I often feel like Microsoft sort of, I don't know, they're played safe with their narratives a little bit sometimes. Like I haven't really felt emotionally involved with an Xbox game since like Gears of War 2 maybe. Yeah. Like not counting Ori, because Ori's emotional in a different way, I think.
Yeah.
But like Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 were just like, they had some really sort of gut-wrenching moments. And like Halo 4 as well, actually, like the ending of that, not to spoil it. I thought that was pretty emotional as well, but in a different way again. Yeah. I feel like Sony's like more willing to like go for that sort of Hollywood cinematic quality and that sort of Hollywood sort of shock you almost kind of thing, whereas Microsoft just historically hasn't been, which is why I'm hoping that like now we've got potentially more creative freedom and potentially more sort of like Microsoft letting studios do whatever they want, and we've got Hellblade coming and stuff like that, and Hellblade was just sort of such a, I hate using this word because it's used to death, but there's no other word for it. It's such a visceral game, a visceral experience. Hellblade really gets under your skin and sort of grabs you by the lungs almost. It's sort of like, it's an incredible experience. So I am hoping that we start seeing more of those kind of games out of Microsoft, but I tend to agree with that. Like Sony just seems to have that sort of go that extra mile to sort of make something. I don't know, give it that sort of extra little bit of quality, but
yeah. Although I have noticed, like, and I don't know if this is a trend, but it feels to me a little bit like the PlayStation 5, their first year plan seems to be version of game 1.5 as their sort of first year. So like Miles Morales was like Spider-Man, not 2, but like 1.5, little short, same engine. Don't have to do a lot of that groundwork to build all the assets again. You know, we've got Ghosts of Ikushima that's apparently coming. That is possibly similar. Yeah, it feels a little bit that they're doing that, and I don't know why that is. Is that just to get those games out and try and get that hype for PS5, or am I just imagining things? I don't know. But it has.
I think it's like. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, if you think about it, given everything with the pandemic, it's kind of a smart move too, to make these smaller expandalone things. I've actually always loved those and preferred those because I love my short games.
Yeah.
Like Infamous First Light was infinitely better than Second Son, and was like a fraction of the price, and was nice and short. Like I didn't have to invest hours upon hours upon hours to complete it. ODST was brilliant. My second favorite Halo behind CE.
Good choice.
Similar. ODST was amazing. I loved ODST. It was so good. I'm a big fan of that. And I mean, I guess Hivebusters is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just Hivebusters isn't standalone. You need Gears. And I think Microsoft and the Coalition should really think about breaking Hivebusters out on its own as a product you can buy.
Without a 150 gig download attached to it. Yes, please.
Like, it's good. Like, Hivebusters is good. Like, I would argue better than Gears 5 from a campaign perspective. Sell it on its own.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. I don't know. It's weird. They still make weird decisions.
Yeah.
I think the expandalone thing. I mean, that's an interesting word. Did you make that up? I've never heard that.
I don't believe I did. I don't. Think
I like the term.
I've been using it for a long time, but I don't believe I made it up.
Standalone
Although
expansion.
I'd love to say I did.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's like if you've got a game and a game engine, like that could have more content. It's almost like, why not do it? Like The Long Dark, for example, I can't believe how The Long Dark has sort of managed to sustain itself entirely using free updates all this time, basically just expanding on the same world with new features and stuff. It shows that it can work, you know.
Yeah.
And their entire business model is free updates to what is becoming a pretty old game, and it's been so impressive watching The Long Dark do this. But I think it only works if a game is a specific type. I don't know if it works super well if a game is sort of like linear in structure.
Yeah.
Because then it is sort of like, you know, you're not sort of with sort of from a new perspective, which sort of makes it. It's almost like a mod. You know, if you you know, some of those big mods you can get for Skyrim or you know, some of those other games. Like Fallout 4 and stuff like that. It's almost like a big mod, basically. And Sony figured out a way of like basically showing the same game but from a new perspective with some like new extra features and stuff like that, and giving you sort of, you know, what people want more of. I think this is where like Microsoft has a bit of a gap in its lineup in terms of like open worlds they can use to that end, and they kind of do Sea of Thieves, but that's like a multiplayer sort of game. I would love to see like an open world single player game from Microsoft that does that, you know, with strong characters and a strong world that has like the kind of personality that makes you want to revisit it.
Yeah. Like
some games it just wouldn't work because it'd just be like, I'm totally bored of this and nothing will make me go back to it. But Sony have proved that if the game's right, then it can work, and I think it will work well for Ghost of Tsushima. And assuming it's true, Nick.
Insiders.
It's always giving me shit.
Pesky blighters. Okay. Well, you know, I think now is the point, and brace yourself, Jez. I don't know if you've ever sat through our community questions, but our patrons.
Oh, you didn't want to ask me if there was something before that?
Oh, do I get to press the Rumourmill button?
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you do.
I love the fact that, Jez, you can't see this, but there's a cool Rumourmill thing playing right now.
Wow, what is this technology? Man, this podcast's advanced.
It's lit, mate. Okay, out of the blue, it's a goddamn Rumourmill.
Yeah. Well, do you remember before how I nearly let something slip?
Yeah.
And then there's a few people in the chat. What was that? And I sort of started to say the word remaster. So I quickly reached out to the person that told me about Quake, because they also mentioned another game to me at the same time. And I said, "Oh, is it okay? I'm doing the show live right now. Can I mention what you told me about? Like, how long ago was it? Like a week or two ago?" They're like, "Yeah, sure." So what they told me at the same time they told me Quake was coming back was that there's currently in development a Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver remaster.
Blimey, now that is
Yeah,
good news.
and that's why I said it's very hardcore, that's a very niche hardcore.
A remaster?
So
yes,
like a
remaster.
first game.
That's what they said. I said
Not a
sorry?
remake.
Yeah.
No, not a remake. Because that's what I asked. I said, "Is it a remaster or a remake?" They said remaster.
That sounds like
been...
Square Enix.
So yeah, I did enjoy that game on Dreamcast. So I believe it's being announced this year. Maybe at PAX, or it could get saved for the Game Awards.
Blimey, I know one friend who's going to freak out when I tell him that's possible.
Oh,
assuming it's true, because you're
will.
Obviously a bit of a fraud. So
The Game Awards will be fun this year.
Yeah, it will.
They should be.
It will.
But yeah, so at the same, and that's what I remember how I said. Was it last week? When did I talk about Quake? Was it last week?
Yeah, it was
I
last
talked
week.
about Quake.
Yep.
And I said there was something else I was holding on to.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Cool.
So I was going to hold on to it longer, but then I nearly let it slip before, and I wasn't sure if I should say anything. So I
could see some young'uns in the chat like, Legacy of fucking what, mate?
Yeah. Legacy, yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at him. Legacy. Bro, what's Legacy of Kain? Legacy of Kain Soul
It's a
Reaver was
classic.
really good. Do you remember that game, Jez? That was a good game.
I do. I remember, I think I played it on PS2. Was it a PS1 game or a PS2 game?
PS1 and
PS1.
Dreamcast.
Jesus.
PS1 and Dreamcast.
That's why when I hear
game.
remaster, I'm like, please remake it.
Yeah, it's a PS1
full
game.
blood.
Like, what the hell? It's gonna look terrible. But anyway,
It all
I
don't
remember
know.
I got stuck in some castle and I was like, I can't figure out where to go, and I just stopped playing it.
Unless it's one of those things where the source says remaster, but maybe they meant remake. I don't know. They
Reboot,
said remaster.
remaster, remake. Who knows? One of the R's.
Yeah, they just like I've got here. Yeah, a remaster of original Soul Reaver. Like, unless it's just a wording confusion thing. I don't know. Like,
I gotta put it on Android.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Soul Reaver 1 is gonna look very good, even if it's remastered.
It's got to be a
I don't know.
remake.
I don't know. Like I said to people all the time, I'm not Jez. Jez likes to have documents which lay things out exactly as they are. I don't have the luxury of relying on documents. I rely on other people telling me stuff. So if they're mishearing or misquoting or whatever, well, then that means I am too. But they've said remaster, not remake. So
Interesting. Wow.
yep.
There you go.
So we'll see how that goes. But I know there's a very, very passionate, hardcore base for Legacy of Kain.
Yeah. It feels like vampires are coming back in a big way, right? Like we've got Arcane doing a vampire game. We've got, what was the vampire game that they announced?
Masquerade 2.
Masquerade
Vampire
2.
Masquerade
Yeah.
2.
It's like everyone's getting on the vampire. The vampire's the new zombies. Is this the thing? I don't know. But yeah, there you go. Rumourmill out of the blue. Aren't you all lucky?
Yes.
Um,
Rick Payne, I don't know when the Sony event is. I've been getting a lot of DMs about that on Twitter, and I don't
next
know.
week?
I'm trying to find out. When it is. I think I was originally told it could be within the week when I was told a few days ago, which to me says end of June, which is where we are now, but they're leaving it a bit late if it's end of June. So
Yeah.
I think the current rumor that's been floating around is July 8th, apparently. I don't know. I keep asking, and they keep saying that they're trying to find out. So I don't know when the Sony show will be.
But when he does, he'll drop it on Twitter straight away. The big
Yes,
jerk.
I will. Make sure I upset more Sony people on Reset. So the only things I've been told about and we're allowed to say were about Ghost of Tsushima and that we're going to see some God of War gameplay stuff there.
Cool. Intrigued.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Should be good.
So, very, very quickly, Jez, as you know, we're supported by our lovely, lovely patrons, so we do like to give them some love. On this occasion, big love to Croat56, Blast the Bass, Nodorius, Not Jack, Sowing Shade, The Scarecrow 121, TornRaptor, Crazy Spaz, VK Andrew, Brit, Cerys, Nottian, Gabquest, Hexa, J Repper. This box is covering the screen. It's just the letter K. Kiroi Senko, Cartoon Soldier, Red Sun, Saint Irv, Shadowgasm are running riot. We love you lots. And this
Did you say Blast the Bass?
Yeah, I said.
Did you mention?
I said.
Oh, you
Blast
did.
the
Okay.
Bass.
I thought I didn't hear it. I thought I didn't hear it.
Speaking of Blast the Bass, if you haven't watched it, he launched one of our new Xbox era shows, which is Flew the Coop, which is a co-op-focused Xbox games night with various members of the Xbox era team that you can go and watch, and it's all a live stream, and it's all good fun and shenanigans. I think they did Halo 2 Anniversary for their first episode, so feel free to go check that out. And now, Jez, you get to experience our insane community questions. Brace yourself; these people are nuts.
I'm braced.
There's going to be shrimp. I know we cleared all the shrimp stuff out at the beginning.
The first thing I'm looking at is bloody shrimp.
It's going to be a lot of shrimp questions in here. Nick, please.
Okay. Colbert, it's not even a question. Not a question, just a statement. And if you could see this, there is a picture of shrimp on a plate with some sauce. That's the very first thing straight away. Power. Another question here. Thoughts on this? And it's a link, right? And when you click the link, which I will do right now, it's an article. The environmental impact of shrimp aquaculture, causes, effects, and mitigating alternatives. And there's this entire article about the shrimp ecosystem and its impact on the world. And, oh my God, seriously.
Oh, Jez. Wow. I didn't know that. I feel good now.
Okay, to the first actual proper question. Phalaxis. Greetings, lads and Shrimp King. Shrimp King kind of sounds like someone from The Little Mermaid. With the Disney Pirates of the Caribbean crossover and Sea of Thieves being a huge success, what's another movie game combo that'd work well with a crossover? Forza Horizon Cars comes to mind. Oh, that'd be so good. My son would lose it if Cars were in Forza Horizon. I don't know. That's a cool question. Another crossover with a game.
I don't understand. I have 2 points to make. One, I don't understand how Cars, the franchise, the Pixar franchise, got 3 films.
Because the first one was great. The second one was terrible.
Yes, it was.
And the third one was great. But what people don't realise is, I mean, everyone knows that money talks. And what people don't realise is that Cars, that Pixar movie, at the time was like their highest grossing.
Yeah, I suppose all the Goodyear and brands.
And the merchandise was off the charts and it made crazy money. Like my son has like over 100 of the die-cast Matchbox style cars. Yeah. Like he was obsessed with it.
Fair enough. And
we had that weird Terminator Gears of War crossover. Do you remember that?
Yes. Why was that a thing?
That was so random.
Yes. There's a film coming out, promoted. It's like
yeah.
They did similar things like Halo with Ghost in the Shell.
Was that movie even any good?
The first 10 minutes were, and then it went rapidly downhill.
Rip.
Yeah. But the Pirates of the Caribbean thing is good.
It is, and this was my second point, is that I played it and I was really excited to play it after, you know, if you watch us reacting to the E3 live stream, like I was very, very excited when I saw that because I knew prior that there would be Disney presence and I figured it out the day before. and I pinged someone on.
Jeff Grubb told us that there'd be Disney presents.
Yeah, and I pinged someone the day before with, and I guessed it, but I was still surprised to see it because I put it out of my mind. But it's broken, and I know they've patched it today. But man, it was such a rough experience that first go round. It sucked all the fun out of it completely. It was just completely. It was a waste of 2 hours of my life, and I was really gutted about it. But in terms of franchises that they could link with, man,
I have one.
Go on.
I have a good one. Speaking of games I don't like or play on Xbox that could get great crossovers, State of Decay, The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
like State of Decay is the Walking Dead video game. You have to find shelter and you build a community, and it's literally the Walking Dead. So do a crossover.
So my issue with these sort of things is that like oftentimes they just seem weird and don't work very well. Like Monster Hunter had like a Final Fantasy crossover, and there was like a whole Geralt of Rivia appearance in Monster Hunter World as well. Which kind of made sense because he comes through in a portal and he hates portals, and the Leshen comes with it. But like, I guess like it depends. Like, do you just like accept it for what it is, like a cool little thing, or does it seem like weird and stuff? I don't know.
I think State of Decay
needs more franchises. Is what I'm thinking right now. Like, apparently, like I've heard that like the Halo team and 343 are really, really controlling over the presentation of Halos and IP. Like everything has to be perfect in a specific way, and the lore has to be all perfect and stuff like that. Yeah. So I can't really see Halo doing something like that, like a crossover, because of that sort of stuff. But who knows? Fortnite's seen a huge amount of success with crossovers.
Yeah, and
also Sea of Thieves has as well. I suppose like with Sea of Thieves, there's a lot you could do with Sea of Thieves now. They've pretty much opened Pandora's box. They could do like, I don't know, other piratey sort of franchises, like, I don't know, Hook. Why not bring Peter Pan and Hook and the crocodiles in, for a DLC? Why not, do the Goonies or something like that? I don't know. Like there's a hell. Yeah. Man, how many pirate things even are there? There's actually not that many.
There's not that many. No, there's not that many.
Yeah, I can't really think of one. The problem I have, and I think Jez, you touched on it, is that it's not just that they don't work. It's just oftentimes they feel really forced. So it's like, oh, this is just really a bit cringe. Like,
they're not really done very well.
Yeah, it's clearly someone's paying money to be in the game. Kind of, that's how I take it. Ugh.
Sea of Thieves and Pirates of the Caribbean is like one of those rare occasions where it does make complete sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was
that's a good and tough question.
You might have noticed that Nick's donned a robe, and a fake pipe, and that's because Cerys asks very interesting questions, but there's often a bit of a preamble. So I just want you to relax. Put your feet up. Perhaps just close your eyes and imagine yourself there as part of the story as you wind in. So go on, Nick, please.
Okay, I actually, for some reason, I didn't realize that Cerys had a question. You pointed it out to me later, which was funny. Okay, hello panel. Please bear with me. I have been in a funny mood this week, and I did have a question about narratives in games. Having played Sunless Skies for a review John would hate and no one would read, so say hello to Great Aunt Whimsy instead. When I worked at college in the art department, I lived with the other two art technicians. Let's call them Dave and Jen. Jen was a lovely hippie who was all about screen printing and stained glass. Dave was an anarchist Potter type who rode a bike and drank a lot. One time, Jen and I were making disposable lighters have massive flames for fun. Dave saw this and reminded of something he had learnt. He ran off to the kitchen. There was a lot of noise, some swearing, the back door being opened, and what sounded like someone urinating into a Pyrex jug. Is that right? Pyrex? He proudly returned to show us the jug and declare fire breathing. He had learned how to during his gap year, getting munted in Indonesia.
There's some real British words going on right now.
Munted. Oh, munted is a classic. Aussies use that too. It's such a good word. How do you fire breathe? Jen asked. Paraffin was the reply. Both of us glanced to the dining table, half of which was Dave's bike mid-repair, and the other half was a stained glass window being cleaned up with a very noticeably empty bottle of paraffin. Did you buy more paraffin? I asked. Nah, can't find the bottle. I got something better. Something better we discovered was petrol from his bike fuel tank, which was in the garden covered in a plastic bag. Before we could stop him, he ran outside, taken a mouthful of petrol, spat it out, and lit it.
Oh my
There are
God.
a few things that I've seen that were as majestic, beautiful, and terrifying as the flower of flame that left his mouth. The returning bloom of fire, which set fire to Dave's head, was one of them. In the shock, he opened his mouth, spilling the last of the petrol over his shirt, which naturally started to burn as well. He attempted to beat his head out with his arms, which served only to fan the flames, but to set his forearms on fire. At which point we realized what we were watching and ran inside to fetch something to help. A fire blanket, a tea towel dropped in the washing up bowl, and then the washing up bowl. Somehow he had the foresight to roll on the wet grass and use a combination of the above. We three managed to put him out. He refused an ambulance, and we were all too drunk to drive, so he spent the night weeping and groaning with his head in the bath filled with cold water.
Wow.
After several hours, he was able to come downstairs and hope that frozen peas would help the birds. We only had fish fingers, though, so we watched as he silently walked into the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of wine, a pack of fish fingers, and returned upstairs.
Oh my God.
All of which leads me to my question. Which is better, fish fingers or chicken nuggets? I will take time to make the whimsy more game-related in the future.
Oh my God.
But I just ran out of time, and this was in my notepad of vital questions. Chicken nuggets.
I'm going to go with the nuggets. I love fish fingers, but yeah, I'm going to have to go with the nugs.
I'm going to go with fish fingers.
There he goes. The
Oh, wow.
contrarian.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
like
it's
chicken.
because, since I'm dieting at the moment, fish
Mhm.
fingers are slightly bigger for what the amount of calories you get generally.
Good call.
Yeah. And they're better for you, I'd assume, than chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Well,
Potentially.
fish finger
potentially.
sandwich. Lovely. It's
Well,
great.
it's fish. Fish is healthier than fake chicken.
Fake chicken. It's mostly
Oh.
water.
Fish finger sandwich
most-
with mayonnaise. Sublime.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I'm not getting drawn into the mayonnaise thing. It's not happening.
What mayonnaise?
No, nothing. Nothing. There's nothing to do with mayonnaise or shrimp.
You're British.
I am British.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, you're Southern, so you're kind of British. But,
Ooh,
um,
that divide.
have you ever had Twiglets with mayonnaise?
Twiglets are gross because
Twiglets?
Marmite sucks. So I'm going to say no.
What are Twiglets?
Twiglets are
Typical
basically
Southern.
Marmite crisps. You got knickknacks in Australia?
No.
Okay, wow, you're missing out on some seriously good crisp right now. Anyone in the chat with knickknacks, if you don't know what a twiglet is, it looks like a knickknack except it's gross and covered in Marmite.
I don't think they have knick-knacks outside of England either.
Shocking. Rib and saucy.
so-
What
They're
a
like
flavour.
they're like little sticks, like breadsticks with that Marmite. They're the best food in the world, and if you dip them in mayonnaise, it's just heavenly. But I can't seem to find anyone else that does this. It might just
Wait.
be me.
Have you had aioli yet? I told you to have aioli. Have you had aioli yet?
No.
No, I haven't.
Oh, come on.
I'll tell you,
Aioli is...
Dieting, man. I'm
greatest.
dieting.
I'll tell you what, Jez.
No, I know.
I'll speak to my wife. She does all sorts of weird things with food, and she often, when drunk, will combine all sorts together. I will get her to try Twiglets and mayonnaise because she's a big fan of mayo and she does like Twiglets. And I'll feedback and let you know if she's like, this is glorious. Who invented this? And I can be like, Jez Corden. Jez Corden invented it.
Are you eating mayo at the moment on your diet?
Light
No,
mayo.
I'm not.
Okay.
It's a
Because
living
aioli is
nightmare.
just basically... Aioli is basically just mayo with garlic, effectively.
I probably could fit it in. You know.
It's so nice.
I'm just eating to like 1,200 calories a day, so I can eat anything I want. But it's like I'm going for things that actually fill me up to 1,200 calories a day. Like I could
fair
have
enough.
one Big Mac, maybe.
High protein. Try high protein stuff. Satiates better than anything else.
I don't find that it does for me. I'm
Really?
eating a lot of bread, and that feels weird.
No, that's not. No, that's not good.
Everyone
Don't-
says
don't
that, man.
spread.
Bro, I've lost
Don't do
70
bread.
pounds. I've
Wow,
lost 70 pounds.
that's incredible,
Eating
dude.
bread.
That's awesome.
Okay, fair enough. Well, if it works for you, then do it.
I've also been dieting because I had a bit of a health scare, and I've cut all sugar from my diet as best I can, aside from the 2 I have in a coffee and the 2 I have in a cup of tea, and I've cut that down to 1 coffee and 1 tea, and I've lost 10 pound since Monday week before last. I saw 13 stone on the scale, and I was like, I haven't seen 13 in such a long time. I've been like hovering at 14 and a half. And anyone in the chat is like, stone, pounds, what?
Yeah, bloody stone. I hate stone.
Do
Kilograms.
Australians use stone?
No, they don't.
No,
They use kilograms.
No. Kilos. We use kilos.
You use kilos?
Yeah.
Kilograms. Why wouldn't we use
Come
kilograms?
out the Commonwealth. Kilos.
Jeez.
Oh, Christ.
But Australia is clearly ahead of everyone else.
What is it? What even is a kilo?
1,000 grams.
Kilogram. A kilogram. Are you serious? It's 1,000 grams.
Well, yeah. I agree with the metric
What's a
system.
gram? Well, I know what a gram is because of drugs.
Because of drugs.
Let's not get into it.
Because of drugs. I know what grams are because of drugs.
Oh, this is what Cerys questions do.
I can't even imagine like what. I can't visualize a kilo in my head.
Do you know how I do it? Bag of sugar. That's a kilogram. Boom, bag of sugar. How heavy is that? Oh, it's about a kilogram. Oh, bag of sugar. There you go. Pro tip.
I've pretty much cut sugar out of my coffee. I used to be 3 sugars in a coffee. I used to back in the day when I was younger. Then I went to 2, and I was 2 for a long, long time. Then I went to 1, and now I am none. I have managed to find a way to drink coffee without sugar, which is good.
I tell you what, I do like by the sugar I have in my coffee. I have brown demerara sugar.
Yes,
Makes
I
it all
have the raw sugar
caramelly
as well.
Mm.
The raw sugar.
Now I
Yep.
want a coffee.
I put a bit of honey in mine these days.
Good choice. Natural sweetener.
Oh yeah, honey's a good one.
I'll have to try that.
Okay, next question. We got off on a massive tangent just then. The Scarecrow 101. Good whatever to the 2 pommies, the Yankee, who's not with us, and the Aussie. The Aussie being the best one. Hey. Simple question. What pets do you have and how good are they? Cheers. I have a cat and I hate her. I want someone to take my cat.
I was going to try and give you one of mine. I have 3 cats. One is 17 years old and likes to poop in shoes, which I find hilarious. Like my best mate, when we used to live together, and she was a bit younger then, but I used to live in a 1st floor maisonette, which is a flat with another floor above it. And I remember like, I can smell cat shit, bro. There's a cat shit anywhere. And he was like, I can't see anything. And then I looked down the stairs towards the front door, and his vans were there, and just curled out at the top of one of the vans was this fucking turd that she does. So she's got worse as she's got older. She just poops everywhere. But I've also got 2 very boisterous kittens called Boots and Gherkin, and my kids love them. But they are the craziest animals. They are parkouring all over my house at the moment, and because they're kittens, every fly that might come in from the sun, they're knocking plants over. I came down. I vape, right, and this juice is like a gelatinous liquid, and I'd just brewed like a full litre of it, and my wife had left it on the corner of the worktop. And my son woke me up at 5:45 in the morning and goes, Daddy, I've got some really bad news. I think the kittens have knocked over your pipe juice. And I come downstairs and my like barely a year old laminate, there's just this pool of like really difficult to get up oily stuff that's just fucking my floor up. Yeah, not loving any of my animals at the moment.
So much drug talk. Pipe juice.
Pipe juice. What about you, Jez?
I know what a gram is. It's drugs.
I have no pets. At my girlfriend's place, there's like a cat that half lives there, comes back like when it's hungry.
Yep.
But it moved in with a neighbor who fed them more food, and the cat got really fat. But like if he gets locked out of the neighbor's house, then he comes home. But that's it.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They go to whoever
I am
feeds them.
actively looking into keeping shrimps, though. I'm actively. I'm actually serious. I'm gonna do it.
Goldfish are surprisingly hard work.
Really? Oh.
Maybe shrimp are easier.
Maybe it's not a good idea then.
Do you guys like shrimp? Like to eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I
like
love it.
shrimp, and my wife made a shrimp pasta. We're doing Go Fresh at the moment, which is like where you get the meals delivered to you exactly in the quantities that you should have. And it was a shrimp one. I was like, I don't like shrimp. She was like, try it. And I put it in my mouth, and I felt its like entire body there, and it kind of didn't break, but as I bit it, it kind of just like squidged, and I was like, and it just came out of my mouth, and I thought it was gross. And she was like, why is that so weird? You don't struggle to eat like dead cow or dead pig. And I'm like, because it's like a piece of the animal. This is the whole animal. There's the head, there's the tail. And she was like, no, they pull its digestive tract out. And then she went, oh, this one's still got its digestive tract in. And I was like, you're eating its poop? Like, come on. No.
Ain't you meant to like take that bit out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Shop bought shrimp usually come with it removed, but she was just like, I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's gross.
can't do it.
Garlic prawns is amazing. Garlic prawns is an amazing dish.
Ugh.
Okay. Next question. TornRaptor. G'day, cobbers. It's good to see Win 11 going from offset windows to central windows. Hi, Jez. There is many good names for video game studios out there that are straightforward and none too special. What studios, past and present, do you think have the best names? Be it that they are awesome or funny. I won't suggest any, as I feel it would be better not to pollute your minds. I am more interested in what you come up with. Lastly, if you collectively decided today to form a studio, what do you all agree to call it? Thanks, guys.
Man.
Best studio names. I've heard some funny ones that I can't bring to my mind right now.
I really like Chainsaw Some Games. Do you know them?
No.
Chainsaw Some. What did they make?
No.
I remember their studio name, but not what they make.
Chainsaw Some.
Chainsaw Some. They make Night Squad too. Do you know that game? Night Squad.
No, I don't.
And yeah, they haven't made many big games. I think Night Squad is the biggest game, but yeah, Chainsaw Some is one I always think of.
Chainsaw. There's a lot out there, and I wish I could. Like, it's unfortunate that they haven't stuck in my head. Like, I'd see the name, have a bit of a chuckle, and then move on. In terms of cool names, like I like the name Ninja Theory.
Yeah,
I think that's a cool name for a studio.
I like the Molasses Flood just because it's so unique.
The Molasses Flood.
The Molasses Flood. They made what's that game called? I can't remember what it's called now. They made the Flame and the Flood. Did you ever play that?
Oh.
yeah.
No, but I know the game, but I didn't play it.
Yeah, it's like a survival roguelike sort of game. It was like one of the first idea Xbox games. It's a really great game. Really highly recommend it. But yeah, like the name, the Molasses Flood, is like...
Yeah, there they are, the Molasses Flood.
They're named after like this disaster in America where a giant tank of molasses exploded or something.
Yep.
And
in
flooded.
Boston?
Yeah. I thought that was like quite a cool, unique studio name.
I'm trying to rack my brains and like is Fat Shark? They did the Warhammer
Fat
ones.
Shark.
Like I quite the idea of a really fat shark.
Fat Shark. Yeah.
I like Face Punch.
Yeah.
Just because it's like it's to the point, you know.
I loved
Face Punch Studio.
Play Dead, right? And interestingly, Play Dead. Funny name in itself because you're playing dead, but then the guys that announced Somerville, they've called their studio Jump Ship because they've jumped ship from Play Dead, which I think is really unique.
That's good. Oh, look at Respawn. They all left Infinity Ward and called themselves Respawn.
Yeah,
Respawn.
That's actually a good name too.
Yeah, I can't think of any others.
What would we call our studio? Something with shrimp?
Yeah, Shrimp Co. or something like that. Shrimp King Games.
Shrimp Aioli Studios.
Twiglets and Mayo. I don't know. Pick a name.
Oh God, this is so dumb. Okay.
I'm going to
All right.
pause for a second and just make sure that I cover off before I completely forget them. Mid-patron questions, a couple of super chats. DS Omen, while we're on the studio talk, let's say you run, I presume you're saying you run Xbox and you get the chance to trade one studio with a competitor's studio. What's the trade you make? The studio has to be similar in value. Right, so you can't go trading Compulsion for Naughty Dog or something like that. And I'm not dissing Compulsion; they're just small versus Naughty Dog that are huge.
I would trade 343 with Santa Monica.
Okay, Jez, what about you? You do the same?
Same.
Wow,
Yeah.
no love for 343 in this gang, huh? I would.
I mean, is that even fair?
What, the trade?
Well, I don't think they're equivalent. Like, frankly.
That's what. Well, I mean, it's more equivalent than saying Compulsion for Naughty Dog. Let's say.
It's funny because Halo is $1 billion franchise, I guess.
That's right.
So
and Santa Monica has only ever really worked on one franchise, which is God of War.
Yeah.
343 are just Halo. So to me, that seems fairly equivalent.
It's okay. It's a fairly logical.
Two flagship franchises.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I would trade.
I'm
trying to think of all the billions of studios they have now. I would take Insomniac.
For sure.
Who would I trade for Insomniac out of Xbox's repertoire? No, I would. Oh, man, I don't want to give up the coalition. They're pretty damn good at what they do. They just need to be unleashed from Gears.
They will be.
Man, that's really hard because now after that I'm like, oh, who do I give up? Oh man, I'm probably going to be stuck thinking about this for ages. Like, and I shouldn't really take it this seriously.
Do you play Doom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was going to say if you don't play Doom, then trade in.
Can't get rid of it. No way. That's crazy talk. No, I don't know. I'll have to come back to it. I'll suddenly shout it out at some point. And the other quick super chat that cropped up was Agaratos Henosis. Agaratos Henosis. Favorite OG Xbox games. Favorite OG Xbox games. Mech Assault.
Halo. It's easy. Halo.
So I didn't really have many. I had an OG Xbox, but I think the only game I had for it was Halo.
Wow.
Yeah. It's Halo.
I mean, there was loads of games that I liked that were on Xbox, but I think I just played them on PlayStation instead, like Max Payne, or I played them on PC. Yeah. Max Payne 2.
Yeah.
And Splinter Cell, maybe. Was Splinter Cell on other platforms?
It wasn't for a while. Then
it was exclusive to Xbox for a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Sorry. Slight tangent.
No, that's okay.
Carry on.
No, we had to get to them. Okay, DeoGame. Wow. DeoGame taking on Cerys. For a fun challenge, I decided to see if I could take on Cerys. Style question. There you go. It's in the first line. If you prodigious assortment are running late, you can skip to the end. Trust me, I'm not Cerys. Don't bring out the robe and pipe for this. I've already put them away. Wet towel and herbal cigarette are far more fitting for me. Good evening, panel. Back in the days of elementary school, young Dio was not exactly what you would call physically inclined. His knees would give out regularly, still do, due to hyperlaxity. I have never heard of that word. What the hell is hyperlaxity?
It's this thing that causes your knees to give out easily. Just explain that, man. Weren't you reading it?
I've never heard of it. That's all. I'm just saying. It says, hold on. It says also known as double jointedness.
Oh, okay. They bend both ways.
That I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Nevertheless, it was school policy that we try out for the cross-country team every year. And every year, it was if I was so much as able to complete the course, it was something of a small miracle. Of course, I was cut almost always immediately. I really shouldn't have minded. I didn't want to be there. I hated running. It was school policy. But nevertheless, it was a real kick in the nads for my self-esteem. However, my luck changed in the 5th grade when I finally found out there was a sport for me named W5H. here in the lovely south of Canada. It was a regulated trivia program, and my school had a team. Immediately, I tried out, having done significant amounts of studying and practice, and made the team. I did pretty well as well, memorizing factoids from a number of different diverse subjects. I was really good at that too. There were some odd snags, such as an overzealous parent who forced her daughter to be a starter, despite her daughter not having the level of skill needed for finals. But on the whole, I look back on these days fondly. I even won a medal for accomplishment, and man, it felt good. However, there was one person from the school I always considered my rival. For the sake of levity and privacy, we'll call him Jim Ryan.
Okay.
Jim would always go toe-to-toe with me in the competitions, and while our knowledge levels were fairly similar, he was the fastest draw in the West, or I guess technically south of Ontario, on the buzzer. He was, in many regards, my first rival. Flash forward 4 years, I'm in high school. I'm trying out for W5H once more, and guess who is right there with me? Jim Ryan. Jim and I had to compete to get placement, and after 6 months of competition, he was placed on the star team, or Team A. I was placed on Team B, despite outscoring many of the members of Team A. Team A were by all accounts the favourites of the coaches and got all the attention, praise, etc. While meanwhile on Team B, we managed to qualify up to the top alongside 2 other schools and Team A. Team C, unfortunately, never fared as well. Finally, the matchup of the century happened. Jimbo in one corner, me in the other. Team A versus Team B. The challenge that nobody wanted. And after several heavy-duty rounds of trivia, Team B, the underdogs, were victorious. The coach couldn't hide her disappointment. In short, we ended up costing Team A the championship spot, and we did not have the record to reach it either. Do I regret not throwing the match? God, no. And thus, after a year of feeling lesser in spite of our accomplishments, many on Team B, present company included, left behind trivia. It wasn't until about 4 years after that I rekindled my relationship with trivia by writing for a website. But that is a story my lips are sealed on. All of this is to say, Nick has said for a while that he views Returnal as Housemarque trying out for Sony. That's right. We now know about a number of high-profile Xbox Game Studios global publishing titles coming from independent studios like Interior Night, IO Interactive, and Avalanche. Do you view these titles as potential tryouts for Xbox acquisition? Do you view them more as Xbox signing a deal with a team they can't buy, case by case? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. P.S. The shrimp is a lie.
Yes, it is.
The shrimp is a lie.
It actually is.
Yes, I think they could be potential, like auditions for acquisition, maybe.
There was
Avalanche and IO.
There was a lot of talk. Like it always happens before E3. Like a couple of days before, everyone goes nuts. And like Jez, I'm sure you recall, like it went from this is going to be an okay show to a really good show to oh my god, they're not actually going to announce acquisitions. And then and I'm sure you've heard the same names that went around the houses that we did, right? And I'm still hearing that one of them is done, and they're just waiting to announce it. But man, I wonder what happened there. Like that, what dropped into the insider sphere that just went and churned all that mess up just before E3. But do I view them as tryouts for acquisition? I don't know. I guess any game could be.
Maybe tryout's not the right word. It's the start of a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, so Jez, I think, had said that like Contraband and Project Dragon are like long-term projects. Is that right?
Yeah, I know more about. Funnily enough, I know more about Dragon than I know about Contraband, despite the fact Dragon's not even been announced. But again, like these documents are pretty old, so the Project Dragon info I have is incredibly detailed.
Wow.
And in depth, and a lot of the gameplay details could be completely different between now and launch. Like I always think about how like Kingdoms of Amalur was originally meant to be an MMO, for example,
Yeah.
and then scale back as the project reality dawned upon them, So but yeah, from what I understand, Project Dragon is meant to be like a decade worth of game. That's what it says in the stuff. We could have a 10-year plan for updates for this game.
Wow.
Yeah.
It certainly felt like Contraband potentially is designed with that in mind too. Maybe not to the same extent, but one of the things they're working in for Dragon, at least according to this original spec, was this sort of like procedural dungeon system, and not just like the old sort of like, right, there's a bunch of games that do this right now, like World of Warcraft Torghast has like this tile system where it will like it'll just drop in random bits of a dungeon to make a dungeon. It's like a tile system. I think Gears War Escape, Gears Escape mode kind of does it too. But they're going for like the next level of that, like this sort of procedural dungeon system. But also like there's a story and there's social hubs and all this kind of like
Very
stuff
ambitious.
going on top of it as well. It's incredibly ambitious, and it sounds incredibly expensive. So like when I was reading about this, I was just sort of like, man, this sounds like a big risk to put on like a second party studio. Like it'd make a lot of sense if they were acquired maybe. But I certainly haven't heard anything about them acquiring IO. I think it might just be like, the fact that they're working with them on this game supposedly, and that Avalanche is working with Microsoft on Contraband. Like it just kind of, like you say, the start of a relationship, and maybe it could eventually lead to something like that. But with Avalanche, it's kind of complicated because they're owned by a Nordic film company. IO Interactive might just not want to be purchased. They might be like, well, we cash flow in our needs right now with these deals we've got for James Bond and Project Dragon. We don't need to be acquired. Maybe they're thinking like, if Project Dragon blows up, we'll be worth more money, and we'll be able to negotiate a better deal for us. So it could be that as well. I don't think either company's really in a sort of desperate position to sell right now.
I think Thomas Mahler made a similar point when we we've had him on a couple of times from Moon Studios, and lots of people said, oh, when are you being acquired by Microsoft? And he, I'm sure you've seen Thomas. He's a very blunt and direct individual, but he was just like, why would I sell now? Like, I've made Ori and the Will of the Wisps with my team. I've made Ori 1. Both really acclaimed, successful games. Like, I'm only worth this right now, but if my next game is worth even more and it goes really, really well, then, I'm worth even more. So why sell now when I'm in a great position? And it's like, you got to remember, this is a business at the end of the day. It's not all just about list wars and console wars and fanboy shit. It's about what's right for the company at the time. So, yeah. There you go.
I mean, we know they're looking.
Yeah.
We know
they've been very direct with that's arguably the whole point of that pre-E3 media briefing, right? Was, hey, look, here's our CEO and chairman saying, we're all in on gaming and we're going to get bigger. So take that as you will. The good news is there's only 4 questions left, and they're not as long as Cerys or DeoGames.
Okay. Quiet Gamer 90. Hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well today, especially Jez. Why especially Jez?
Yeah.
Why is he special?
What are we? Chopped
Thank you so much.
Why is he especially? Jez is the bully. Why is Jez especially Jez?
I'm not a bully. I'm lovely.
You have sent thousands of people to my DMs asking about shrimp. That is bullying. That is a form of bullying.
It's harassment, yeah.
I'm helping you grow.
Shrimp.
I'm not going to argue with this.
The irony of shrimp being used to help me grow. Speedy recovery for Rand. Okay, questions. A. Any rumblings about when the Halo Infinite Insider flights will be dropping this summer? Didn't that already start? I thought that already started.
There are rumours out there that things, but nothing.
Not public, the insider one.
They've said like in their blogs. They've said, we're doing limited things.
That's right. That's what I was referring to. I thought they said they already started doing that.
Yeah, but there's
some
nothing.
Xbox MVPs have been testing Halo Infinite for months.
Yeah.
So it's it is in testing. Like Forza Motorsport 8 has also been in testing with some Xbox MVPs.
There you go.
MVP program is sort of like, it's where people get nominated and they get access to special betas and give more direct
Yeah.
feedback. They're like super community members, supposedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been testing Halo Infinite and also Forza Motorsport, so
That's
and
Yeah.
a bunch of other stuff probably.
That's what I was referring to. I thought that.
But if you're talking about, like, there's also the Halo Insider program, which is sort of like
Yes.
a little bit more public. I don't
Yeah.
know off the top of my head, but if you go to windowscentral.com/tag/Halo-Infinite, there might be a news post there that Brendan's wrote about it.
Yeah. If memory
we are
serves,
covering that stuff.
if memory serves, they've been very vocal and said if you want to play before launch, join the Insider program. So if you're wondering if they're going to drop a public open beta, I don't think that's going to happen between now and whenever the hell this game comes out. If you want to be able to play in a form of beta, go and sign up to the Insider program. Like, they've been very clear.
I think that's a
on this.
mistake.
I think it's
Not having a public one is a mistake.
It's a matter of resources and time. I think it would be nice to have a public one. I think that they're great, but would you rather they focus on building a stable, semi-okay branch off for people to test, or would they continue to test?
Yeah, but hold on. Halo multiplayer has been and is way ahead of the campaign and has been in a more ready state for some time. I want a working multiplayer day one, and having a multiplayer beta is what helped Halo 5 launch so well in terms of, say what you want about the quality of the campaign, blah, 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 blah. Halo 5 was rock solid day one.
Yeah, the multiplayer was, and they don't want to have a repeat MCC, right? But
that's right. I'm like, wow.
I think the largest scale flight you will see for Halo Infinite will be via the Insider program. I don't think it will be.
I think that's a mistake.
I don't know. That's my guess. We'll see.
Okay. Second part. What did you think about Phil Spencer's statements on the Drop Frames podcast regarding the release date of Halo Infinite? Going by his 3 to 4 week window given for release, my guess is that it will be releasing sometime between November 15, December 15, perhaps most likely in December. Man. There are still conspiracy theorists that think September.
Yeah.
September's not happening.
I don't see September happening, but yeah.
Not happening.
They're basically waiting for Call of Duty to tell you a date, and then they'll do a thing. I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
Like, they'll stay out of the way of their partners' big games, and they'll land somewhere in that ballpark. But I don't think December's too late.
Yeah, but to me, this is the year to go head on with COD. COD's going to suck this year, so this is the year to take COD on head on.
But it's not just
surely.
But that's probably approaching it from a consumer. Yeah, let's take it to COD mindset when these are partners of Microsoft.
Are they? Well, they're partnered with Sony.
You know
heavily.
what I mean. Microsoft are the nice guys now. They're the friendly friends of the gaming industry.
I think they need to be pricks and put Halo on its anniversary on November 15, and COD can get stuffed. Because COD's... Who's going to play COD this year? It's World War II again. Really? Who cares? Who cares about World War II anymore? Come on. Let's move on from that as a setting, shall we? Jesus.
There you go.
Okay. Beast Mode 10. Hi, Jez, John, and Nick. This question has no prologue, will come straight to the point, unlike a few others. Winky face. Do you have hints or clues as to which regions and which data centers are being prioritized for conversion to Series X blades?
Nope.
Hurricane.
No, Jez might.
It's
Jez,
just
no?
You just know it's going to be America first. I know that I know they've got them in Redmond, obviously because that's where Microsoft is. So like the Northwest US data centers probably first. It's going to be America first. Let's face it. It's always America first, and then probably Britain second, and then
Australia.
Like the less important countries like Australia last.
Australia never. Australian Xboxes don't even connect to the Australian service for the dashboard.
Wow.
Do they really not?
They really do not.
As well. Does Australia have xCloud yet?
Yep. Oh, yes. for Android,
Oh, okay.
but it's still in testing and beta and all that.
It's
Yeah.
It's going to be a process, you know. Like I was surprised that they did it even now, and I mean, I don't know if this is public or not, or did I hear this, or did someone say this on an interview or
Be
something?
careful.
Careful,
I don't know.
James.
It's
Be
all right.
careful.
I don't have sources to annoy. Like I say, it's all documents.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You can't upset a document. But you know, it's I've heard that one thing they're doing with the Series X server blades right now is I'm pretty sure Microsoft said this publicly, but they're instead of using them as Series X server blades, they're using the Series X to run 4 instances of an Xbox One blade.
Yeah, no, that is
Yeah, I remember
documented.
them
That's
mentioning that
public.
ages ago.
Yeah, you're okay.
Yeah, so I think like what they're doing right now is they're not using them for resolution, they're just using them for loading speed.
Yeah.
Because so like most people don't have the downstream for 4K anyway, let alone 120 frames per second. So like I think what they're using is the overhead from the CPU to do the video encoding, and they're using the SSD for faster loading. But I think like when a lot of people are seeing is that like the games are still like 1080p and stuff like that because they're running the Xbox One version on a Series X. So you get some benefits of the Series X, but at a resolution that makes more sense for a phone. And I think that's how they'll do it for the time being, while they're still rolling them out and while we still have this chip shortage, because they still want to sell Xbox Series X consoles as well.
That's
So
right.
I expect this rollout for Series X blades to go well into next year. I think like we'll see benefits in the US and UK immediately. Like I think I'm pretty sure that I've already got the Series X blades because it seems to be way faster and way more responsive. I put a video up on Twitter of me playing Halo at 60 frames per second. I've never got 60 frames per second on a 3D game on xCloud before until recently.
Wow.
So I do think like there are some countries that have had it, but I think like to get full 4K, like your own personal Series X server blade, I think that's going to be like well into the future, like next year maybe. So it's going to be a slow process, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, the goal is to have this mostly on phones and tablets, so 1080 surely is okay for now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, most people just don't have the downstream for 4K anyway. So
yeah. When do you see a play with xCloud while you download a game feature arriving? Because they had talked about that, where you just start playing and it starts a stream until the game catches up or something like that.
When the blades are upgraded. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did say they're bringing
would be
xCloud to the Xbox app on Windows 11 and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
And
I think
probably
again,
Xbox
it's sort of
Ones.
like, it's kind of like, do they want to use that xCloud feature and just give it to everyone, or is that going to be an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate perk? You know, if you've got Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you can stream the game before it's finished installing. You know, it's because you have to think every time you add a feature that uses xCloud, you're also adding load onto the server farms. So I think that's part of that's also tied to the rollout of the Series X blades, which is, you know, going to be an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So it could be like next year or something.
Don Cavaser in the chat. Sorry, just quickly. He said if the game doesn't have a Series version, it runs the one code. If it does have a Series version, then they run the Series S version because they don't need more than 1080p. That's apparently what they're doing. And he's fairly up on his knowledge, so I'll take it.
I was going to ask Jez something. So they alluded to bringing an xCloud up to Xbox One. Do you think they do it to 360 as well?
Man, like, it makes sense, doesn't it? I haven't heard that's what they're doing, but they're, you know, I could probably find out.
You've got to wonder how many 360s are online still. Probably
more
than I would imagine.
Think, I reckon. More than you think. It's sold 85 million, man. It's, you know.
Yeah, there is still.
I've still got one that's online.
Use.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, why not?
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, Microsoft might want to just sell those people $100 streaming box, which is something they've said they're working on, and which I heard before they're working on. They're incubating all sorts of products right now. They're incubating streaming boxes. They're even incubating handhelds. Whether they get out of the lab or not, I don't know. But they're always looking at this stuff.
My thing was, like, I had spoken about this like years ago in the Discord. Like, why wouldn't you make an xCloud app for Xbox One and 360? Not so much because, you're going to lose money because they don't buy a new console. To me, it was more, given what happened to them between the 360 and Xbox One and all the market share they lost to PlayStation, to me, the xCloud app for Xbox One and 360 is more a retention strategy. So keep those people on board saying, hey, look, you can kind of play these new games on your 360. And then when you're ready to buy the new console, no worries, come across. Like, to me, it was more a retention thing than anything else. But I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I suppose it hinges on how many people are actually actively still using those consoles. You have to presume that, like, someone who's still using the 360 probably isn't the most engaged gamer out there.
Yeah.
Maybe. No. I don't know. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. So we'll have to remind Beast Mode that it's one question. There's 4 questions. When I said there was 4 questions left, it's actually 8.
Yeah.
So let's do short, quick answers.
Why is Rainway or Parsec not an acquisition target yet? Rainway Tech Partnership is used for xCloud on the browser. I don't know. Maybe they are, and we just don't know.
Yeah, no idea on that one.
They don't need Parsec. They're building their own Parsec sort of thing. But Rainway maybe. They might have just partnered with Rainway to speed up the process. Because obviously Google Stadia still exists. I mean, we laugh about it, but it still exists. It's still a thing.
And it's allegedly pretty good too.
Yeah. I mean, Stadia is technologically superior to the Xbox One blades. Remains to be seen if it can compete with the Series X blades, but, Yeah. And also they got Project Orion for PC as well. Yeah. Which they bought with Bethesda, which, Bethesda showed that running Doom at 4K 60 remotely, which beats Parsec. And presumably they're going to use that at some point. They didn't
Orion, I think they'll be doing a lot of stuff with Orion. Previously, Xbox, Microsoft were into acquisitions of tech companies like PlayFab that added into GameStack. Are they still looking? Because Epic is seemingly gobbling every platform tech company in the background without too much media spotlight. They acquired Quixel recently, which does mocap tech for Ninja Theory and Santa Monica. Wishing Rand a speedy recovery. Thanks. Well, I mean, they bought that. What did they buy for 19 billion recently?
Nuance.
Starts with N. Nuance, yeah. But that's not gaming related per se. But I mean, Microsoft's always looking for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they'll do it where it makes sense, but it's not something I've heard anything about.
Microsoft can incubate a lot of this sort of stuff in-house. Like, you have to remember when they bought Bethesda, they bought a hell of a lot of tech. id Tech is a whole engine, and they've got their Orion streaming algorithm with that purchase too, and also id Tech was incubating a lot of VR stuff as well, which that some of their APIs for VR are industry leading. So they did get a lot of tech with Bethesda. I'm sure Microsoft will, continue making investments there where it makes sense. I think like the fact they were trying to land Discord but ultimately failed speaks to that. But they also acquired things like Simply Gone, a little bunch of middleware and Havoc and stuff like that. I'm sure I'm sure they're going for more stuff like that. And, I don't think they necessarily need a lot of that, mocap stuff, because, again, they do a lot of that in-house. And, like, look at Ninja Theories. Like, Ninja Theories just built their own mocap studio in-house in a whole new building and stuff, which is one of the reasons development was disrupted, because they're literally moving studio. So,
Okay.
More of that will come.
Our friend nrXic. Thanks again. Now, remember, patrons, We're still giving those codes for a Mega Rally Championship. I'm still doing it. Every time I see a new patron, I'm still pumping out those codes. Want to thank him again for that. My question is for the shrimp, the sufficiently humble real insiders of Microsoft panel.
Brilliant acronym. Love it. The shrimp.
With Starfield predictably being announced as an Xbox and PC exclusive, the remaining skeptics now understand that Microsoft aren't holding back any punches. Say you were in Phil Spencer's or Matt Booty's shoes and heard that Mojang decided that after 12 years, Minecraft deserves a 2023 sequel that leverages modern technologies like SSDs, ray tracing, modern GPUs, fast CPUs, and so on from the ground up to create a Minecraft 2.0 that will live as a live service for the next 12 years. Would you make this game an Xbox/PC exclusive?
Oof.
Yes and no. Yes and no. What I would do if I was Phil specifically is put it on everything except PlayStation. That's what I would do. I said before, they need to be pricks. I said it before, they've got to be pricks if they want to get their foot in the door. And the way to be a prick is to put something that's going to be the most popular thing in the world on everything except your main competitor's platform.
I think that it's as popular as it is because it's on everything. And the minute you say, yeah, Minecraft 2, but it's only on Xbox and PC, yes, you'll get you faithful, but it will never be as big as the original game because of that.
Put it on Switch as well. And on iOS and on Android. I said put it on everything except PlayStation. Well, I'm just saying.
That's incredibly spiteful.
Oh, bloody oath.
Well,
that is petty as. I'm just saying, that's how you be a prick.
They rang Phil, didn't they? Sony rang Phil. It's like, are you taking Minecraft away from us? And it's like, why would I do that? I don't think that would happen. Feels too
But
much.
that wasn't Minecraft 2.0. That was Minecraft 1. I'm just saying, he asked, nrXic asked, would you? I'm just answering the question how I would answer it if I was Phil. I would not put it on PlayStation.
I think there's an argument to be made about that because, Sony have done things that actively, sabotage.
Correct.
Charging for crossplay, making it uneconomical for, Borderlands just stripped out PlayStation crossplay because, they didn't want it because it liberates people from having to make a choice over which console to get.
Yeah.
Because groups of friends at school, they all buy the same console, and if more people have PlayStation, there's sort of like a bias towards buying PlayStation because everyone's got PlayStation, and you want to play with your friends who also have PlayStation. But if you don't need to do that, you could potentially buy an Xbox and play with them on PlayStation. So obviously Sony wants to disincentivize that with
cut that out,
by charging money for it.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. They're gonna be freaks.
Yeah,
Sony have no problem doing it.
Yeah.
So they need to do the same. And it's not just that. Sony very strategically money hat games that cripple Xbox as a platform for certain genres. So that's it now. Sony owns the fighting game genre because of Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V in isolation didn't do the best compared to Street Fighter 4 and earlier versions of Street Fighter. But Sony took the wider view, which is what smart companies do, and said, okay, with Street Fighter V, we're going to limit its sales potential, but we're also going to cripple Xbox as a fighting game platform, which they did. Completely crippled it. And that's why I said.
They've got to be pricks. That's your answer.
They've got to be pricks.
Okay. All right.
Minecraft 2.0 is guaranteed to be, if it were to happen, is guaranteed to be one of the biggest things in the world. Regardless of what platforms it releases on, it's going to be one of the biggest things in the world. What better way to get one up and cripple a competitor platform than to not release it there? Switch is still massive. Switches are getting smaller. So if you release on Switch, there's still 100 million devices out there that are going to buy it. You've still got PC, you've still got iOS, you've still got Android. Fortnite's doing okay despite not being on iOS, isn't it?
Yeah.
And iOS has more devices out there than PlayStation does. So I don't think Microsoft's going to be crying too many tears not putting Minecraft 2.0 on PlayStation.
It's a very, very passionate answer there, Nick.
Oh, I just wish they'd be pricks more. I just wish they'd be pricks. Like, seriously, be a prick, Phil. Seriously. Just be a prick.
There you go.
Anyway.
And I think it's the last one.
Is it?
One's more a comment, but I mean, you can read it out if you like.
Hold on. Where are we? Where are we? Serious comment.
Yeah.
I was about to say they're more comments, aren't they? And it's stuff we've even been talking about. Not Jack. What is your proudest recent gaming achievement? Does not need to be an actual gamer score achievement. What is your proudest recent gaming achievement? God.
Oh, I'll be soppy. I think it would be inadequate of me not to say XboxEra has been probably my recent gaming achievement that I'm most proud of. Like, I think that this team is really, really lucky that we've got as many great people as we have. I think like we're doing really good. It felt great to cover E3 as well as we did. And I just feel like, you know, we're doing all right, and we're going to do even better this year. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of what we're doing. So yay! There you go.
That's a good answer. Jez's would be Windows Central, surely, but that's not that recent, is it? Windows Central's been around for a while.
Yes, it has. I don't know. I think the first thing that came into my head was uninstalling World of Warcraft. I felt like an achievement.
That's a good achievement, man. My little brother's lost like 3 years of his life to that game. So, you know, like, well done, you.
I have over 10,000 hours played in World of Warcraft.
Jesus.
10,000 hours. I don't know what that translates to in years, but it's a lot of time. And that's a conservative estimate. That doesn't include the dozens of characters I've deleted. That's only the characters that I have. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a year and a bit of your life.
And that doesn't include a lot of characters that I've deleted.
Wow.
So those are the only that is adding up the playtimes of all the characters I still have. So that's a conservative estimate.
I thought I was bad with 2,000 hours on Rocket League.
Yeah.
That's full on 10,000 hours. Wow.
Man.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
I can't think of one. And I can't even think of like an actual achievement, as in an Xbox achievement that I've gotten recently. I finally got my last one in Rocket League. I've been trying to get it for 4 years, and I finally got it. So I now have all the achievements in Rocket League. I feel more whole now. That's about it. XboxEra was a good answer. I mean, I had a little bit to do with it.
Yeah, I'm proud. You're part. You know, I'm proud of the team.
No, I wasn't saying it that way. I was saying it as in like, I guess I also had a little bit to do with it, so I could also piggyback.
Yeah, totally.
And ride the coattails of that answer. All I'm saying.
It's a solid answer. I think I think a tertiary answer to that, because I know it's the last question, is I'm also proud that I told Jez that we would probably be about 90 minutes, and we're a good hour over that. So sorry, Jez.
I'm feeling the burn right now.
So,
I got up at 7 this morning. So
on that note, well, my kids woke me up at 5:30, so I feel your pain. I need to sleep. So on that note, I think that's the last community question. So
it is. There was only just that one thing from Power that was like a comment, just a general comment about
Xbox
all the good stuff Xbox is doing, and we basically covered all of it too. So yeah.
So on that note, dear chat and friends, we're going to call it a night. A big thank you to Jez Corden for jumping on. It's been great, and we will try at some point soon to make the Xbox 4.
Yes, when Randy's better.
When he's feeling better, maybe in a month or two, we'll squeeze an episode in here or there.
Please stop being an asshole and sending people my way with shrimp stuff. Please.
Keep doing it.
I don't want any more DMs about it.
You need to come up with something new, Jez, like something else crustacean based. I don't know. Give it some thought. But until next time, much love to everybody in the chat, to our patrons, to the community. The chat's been on fire tonight, so we love you lots. Yeah, and it's over and out from us. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Ciao for now.